Hold on a second.
Technical difficulties.
Yo, neighbors. A Toy Kind of Mood, episode 179. FOMOPhobia. Is collecting sustainable post-COVID? We're going to find out tonight. So thanks for joining us. It's always funny starting this show because I really feel like Ricky Bobby. I don't know where to put my hands. I don't know what to hit, but I think we're good to go. So let's introduce the guys. We're going to go with, because on the screen to my right, to my left, I don't know. It's Speck. David Speck.
What is up? How is it going?
How you doing, man?
Good.
Everything good?
Yeah. Everything's good.
Right, good. And we got another guy with us too, KJ, Black Angus, who had an amazing interview with, you want to say who was in that interview? Corey Cantaloupe?
Yes. Yeah, Corey Cantaloupe and Fred Axon. They were part of the instrumental sculpting team for GI Joe Classified series, and it was a fantastic episode. I've been waiting on that for years, and they did not disappoint. Head over onto Black Angus YouTube and check it out. Thank you very much for that, Zen. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, that was a good interview. They are very nice guys. I got a chance to meet Corey in person at Joe Fest. So very, very nice guys. I mean, there's nothing bad I can say. And you did a really nice job.
They're like I said, they were dyed-in-the-wool geeks just like us. They're the dream team that you wanted on that line. And speaking of very nice guys, let's go ahead and holler at the chat real quick, if I may.
Yeah.
All right, so Yomik, Trey, thanks for joining us, man. Shout out to Gun Bunny. Shout out to GI Bro. Figure Fight Club. First rule of Figure Fight Club, we do not talk about Figure Fight Club. And holler at DJ5 Ash, thanks for joining us, man. TK Storm, thanks for joining us. Johnny B54, my favorite short circuit droid. And also Derek Holyman, thanks for joining us, man. And everyone else, thank you very much. We're going to have a great time tonight. Thanks for rocking with us live.
Yeah, babies. Let's do this. Let's do it. A lot of technical difficulties to start tonight.
Yeah. Well, but once again, thanks to the chat. All right, that's enough for that. We all got our drinks tonight, fellas. Let's make it fun. I got the IPA. It's gonna be awesome.
All right. I'm drinking a whiskey mule.
I'm drinking some Willet Rye.
Yeah.
106 proof.
You know what? Before we dive into it, since we have a little bit of celebrations in our hands, just real quick, Spec, how was your 4th of July?
It was good. It was nice and quiet. We typically go barbecue at a friend's house every year, and I'll go hit up one of those fun fireworks stands out in the desert. And I didn't really do it this year. We just kept it to our two families and quiet and cool this time, which I think was needed.
All right. How about you, KJ, while you're chilling? I'll tell you about mine real quick. Mine was just okay. It was a full day of family, full day of cornhole. We ran the table. You guys do not want to play me in cornhole. It was a lot of fun. My dog did not like the fireworks this year, so that was a little upsetting.
Do you do this pretty good at your house or
just in the neighborhood? We actually skipped the fireworks too because one time I blew my hand off and I just had a nub. Just me and my nub. I know there's some Jerky Boy fans out there.
Oh, God.
Saul Rosenberg.
You guys,
KJ, how was your 4th, man?
It's good, man. I grilled up some brats, fireworks in the hood, lasted till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then again on the 5th, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then the 6th and the 7th. So it turns out you can't involve the police unless there's life-threatening situations. So I just listened to gangster rap to psych myself up into taking matters in my own hands, but then the fireworks stopped. So
Oh, wow. What was the gangster rap of choice? I've been listening to a lot of Dre these days, a lot of 2001.
Dre, NWA, rest in peace, Eazy-E. Just gearing up, just in case I had to get neighborly, but I didn't, so it was nice.
We go for the deep cuts here. Figure Fight Club, Jerky Boys, it is, baby. We'll try and pepper that throughout tonight. All right.
I have warts all over my ass and genitalia.
Oh man, the Egyptian magician. All right, listen. Let's. You want to dive right in? Go with our first topic.
All right, man. Let me go ahead and start queuing some stuff up. Let's go with some McFarlane Toys, shall we?
A little bit of McFarlane. So, Todd McFarlane, the guy who makes fun of Lee Field for not being able to draw feet, makes figures of all shapes and sizes. There's no proportion untouched. What did you guys think of these drops?
Cool deep cuts. I mean, I know who Clock King is. I've heard of Ragman. I think the red hood that's probably the standout.
Oh, absolutely. It looks like they're pulling right from the Killing Joke rather than the the Red Hood appeared in the 50s, right?
I think so. It was more of like a bucket, if I remember correctly, right? Rather than like a capsule shape.
And was it the Joker back in the day, and then they kind of spruced up the story with the Killing Joke, or was it retconned in the Killing Joke?
Yeah, I think it was a retcon. This is coming from Action Toy Now on Instagram. Let's take a closer look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so good. Dude in a suit. Funny that I'm curious whose body they're reusing. I'm sure they're reusing one of the Joker bodies because it's got the longer tie overlay rather than going with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I might have that Joker. Behind me. I'm not really sure. Yeah. Actually, it's two of the. Actually, it's all three of the Jokers.
Yeah,
probably even more. But
yeah,
there's that tie. So they might change the overlay, but you can see the tie there. So this would be more the original Joker, the Killing Joke comedian.
The one that nobody could get. That's one of the reasons I quit buying.
Oh, really?
Well, it's like Toyomic just posted, selling all my McFarlane, just not for me anymore, focused on other lines. And that was 3 years ago.
Actually, I ordered this. You guys ever order from GameStop app? It is awful.
I had that pre-ordered from the GameStop site, and they canceled it. Like, so GameStop is terrible in general.
They're awful. It got stuck ordering, and they ended up sending me. It was either 6 or 8 of these things, and not realizing just like how popular it would be. I returned 4 of them to the store, and I hooked 2 guys up, and I still have one sealed. But I wish I hadn't have done that because supposedly he's going for quite a bit.
Yeah, because the only way to get him now is I think it's a GameStop exclusive, the ice version, the clear blue.
Yeah, that one I did pre-order and then I canceled it. I was like, what is this? Come on, knock it off. But
I'm just curious. Let's see where it's going for. So I'm on eBay here. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, I had 8 of them.
Well, I'm pretty sure Figure Fate's going to smile on you and you'll be able to sell some more, man. There's 57 loose, 60 loose.
Well, no, I'm good. I'm not selling any because I returned them and I gave 2 away. So I'm down to 2. I'm down to my open one and 1 sealed.
All right. I mean, hey, man, There's still money to be made. Let's put it that way. But
anyway, that's
yeah.
long story short. Red Hood is using that same mold. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just
That's
going to
on you,
say
David.
we can also talk about. Huh?
I said
Oh,
it's all
yeah.
you.
We can talk about the platinums. Let's talk about the platinum editions.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on platinums when it comes to McFarlane? And would you like to see that in any other lines like Legends or GI Joe?
I think Classified Series is overdue for something like this. We have the sub teams, and that's all legacy stuff, right? But
Right.
as far as like doing like comic book versions or just crazy custom concept art paints, like that would be awesome. I would love to get that Storm Shadow with the concept art, the one from the Hiya Toys. I would love to get this like as like a platinum edition or something like that from Classified Series. So that's just one example. I think that would be awesome.
It would be
I just
pretty
like
awesome. I love this one.
Nice.
I hope they don't. It's when they start going that exclusive route, that chase route. That's when I start getting lost. Like, I remember when the 25th anniversary started going exclusive and like branching out, and everything became exclusive and it just became harder to get. That's when I lost interest, and I finally was just like, I can't do this anymore. It was just too frustrating. The Jazz wares, the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron, I was getting those at first. That, you know, you could always find them on sale or whatever, but the way they did their chases and platinums was absolutely god awful, and I got out of that quick. And I mean, like, the McFarlanes aren't as bad. I usually happen upon the platinums pretty easily for the most part. But I don't collect. So if I get a platinum, it's because I'm about to sell it. So they're good for me in that sense. But like, I feel like it waters down the line, and I feel like it elitist is probably not the right word, but it like lends itself to that sort of, like, I don't like the whole thing of like, not everybody should be able to get everything that they want. Like, I hate that line of thinking. If there's a figure that you really want, like the Once a Man Cobra Commander, to me, he's an essential figure. I should be able to get him. And I think that I will. I don't think Hasbro's going to make it like super difficult, as long as we're all paying attention to when it goes live and whatever else. But, you know, it shouldn't.
If you're not able to secure a figure like, you know, it's probably going to be on Pulse. If you're not able to secure a figure like that, I hate to say it, but it's more than likely on you. There's so many options to pay attention these days. There's so many ways to get alerted when something like that drops. So, yeah, well, and I'm a little bit against you on the thinking for the exclusivities. That's what I liked when I was a kid. I liked getting like a mail away that somebody didn't have. You know, it was cool on the playground, you know, and it made trading more fun. Hey, I'll trade you my Sergeant Slaughter for your Hooded Commander or whatever it might be. So it was fine with me. Like, I never had the fridge as a kid. I even tried trading for that, and the kid just wouldn't budge. So, I mean, I had to beat him up, but
I think because I didn't have the fridge. I didn't have Super. Did I have Super Trooper? I had Super Trooper. There were a couple, I had the mail away Emperor, but it was also a thing of like, we're kids. I take my toys, or my friends bring their toys, and we all meet up at whoever's house or backyard or whatever. And you fill in the gaps of who you didn't have at that time, right? So,
yep.
You know, if our friends had the fridge, then he came out and this vehicle came out from that, you know, whatever. So we all kind of mixed and matched as we played our battles, and then separated it all back out and went home. But since now that we're adult collectors and it's much more of a singular experience in terms of our collections, like I'm a little more, I want access to the figures that I want to be able to get.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I get it. I want to bring back the friendly playground fun. And I think that that's what our community does pretty well. And I think that YouTube gives us that opportunity, just the chats that we have behind the scenes and then helping each other out. Like Spec was able to find me the merman that I've been looking for. So it's there's that aspect to it. And because of social media, we have a further reach now, right? That backyard is a lot bigger and we can help each other out. So I like being able to grab a McFarlane Platinum for somebody who needs it in North Dakota that has a figure that I'm after. So it's okay. I don't need to sweat it. I know that I can get a trade in. So I know not everybody agrees with me. I'm okay if I don't get this Cobra Commander because I'm not going to SDCC, but I know that I have things to trade for it. You know what I mean? So I'm actually okay with it. I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah,
Can we go back to that one, KJ? I think mailaways.
TK Storm. Yeah.
Intentionally making some figures exclusive is dumb and bad for the hobby in so many ways. But that mail away that Valaverse, Valaverse, or is it Valaverse?
Yeah.
Valaverse, because I know it's a French.
It's French, so you got to put the A on the end of it.
Yeah. Okay. Valaverse. So they tried doing that with the. What was their version of Chuckles? They had their version of Chuckles, and it was supposed to be a con exclusive. What's that, KJ?
It's just Valid Chuckles. That's all it was. Valid Chuckles.
Yeah. Well, he had his version of Chuckles, and it was supposed to be a mail away with points. I thought that was awesome. And then he kind of listened to the fans and kind of went back, and you're able to go online. I really kind of wish he kind of stuck to his guns and kept it a mail away exclusive with the points. I really liked what he was going for there. I would love it if GI Joe Classified went back to some type of flag point thing. But not everybody agrees with me on that because everybody gets frustrated and they're entitled to get every single figure.
I mean, when you think about it these days, every figure is almost a mail away figure. I mean, putting down those
that's true.
Pre-orders and waiting for Amazon and Pulse But I hear you. I mean, I think it would be fun if they did something like flag points for the novelty of it. Hey, this isn't going to be impossible to get, but collect these points, whatever, and have this fun mail away thing that comes in a white box in a plastic bag or whatever. And
they could totally do that. And what they could do is give us the accessory packs. Do you know what I mean? Make it so like it's something not everybody has to go after, but once they do, it's kind of a fun get. An accessory pack, maybe the Cobra Bunker. I don't know. Make that like a Pulse exclusive, but you need points to get it. That would be a lot of fun to me. I mean, we're already buying up the figures. You're going to have the points. I mean, there's no slowing down of this line just yet. So it shouldn't be too crazy for people to obtain. And we are going way off topic. We're supposed to be talking McFarlane.
Well, really quick, there's a question for you, Baldy, from the chat. Earl, go ahead.
Baldy, for where we got?
Oh,
which one was I reading?
You can go and read this one. I'll show you the other one.
All right, sorry. Baldy, for the Walmart sale for the Night Force Shockwave, again, ordered mine from there and canceled the Pulse ones. You and your source saved me some money. Thank you.
So that was
Yeah, that was Jeremy Kimberlin, and he is a pillar in the GI Joe Facebook community. He sent that to me, and right away I was able to share it with this group. I put it up on my page, and I'm getting a lot of thanks for that, but it's actually the thanks go to Jeremy. So I did tag him in each of my posts, and I'm glad that people are able to take advantage of that. So yeah, when we hear something good, we're going to try and share it with you guys. So
keep your eyes open on those socials, especially Baldy Locks reviews, and every so often Toy Optics as well. A question from Earl Whitford. Do you think the Walmart price drop on Shockwave and Night Cycle is a trap?
ooh, a little Admiral Akbar action here. It's a trap. A trap? No. What I think they're doing is trying to compete with Amazon's Prime Day. They also know that they get a lot of they may have a large stockpile of these coming in, but Walmart also oversells. So I wouldn't be shocked to hear the random cancellation or, an order not filling. But what they do is kind of weird. Sometimes they'll fill the newer orders first, and then you have an order that's been sitting out there since we pre-ordered these back in March. So,
Yeah,
this price is amazing.
Yeah, and they did the same goof up with Naga hides, and we're still waiting for those to ship. But I think that's August 12th, I think, is what they have on there.
And let's be honest with you, this is where the price should be for this. I would even like to see it closer to $32 or $30. Once you get into really going for, this is now the third time we're seeing the RAM. They've used this mold. We all know they use the mold. Give us a $5 discount on the next one. You know what I mean? This is all reused stuff. So just like they did with the Trouble Bubble, it was $54, right? It was $54.
Target had it for $45, yeah.
And then Target had it for $45. That's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Drop it $5. Drop it $10. Keep us coming back. And it's great. People don't have the RAM. They're getting the RAM. It's not the green RAM that first came out, but you're still getting a RAM. So I get it. This is the reuse. You're getting your RAM.
Yep. And then, yeah. So I think the original breaker and RAM was $40, just like the Baroness and the coil. But that was almost 5 years ago. So
yeah, cleared. And it cleared. It got as low as like $18. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, that first week I'm sorry. Go ahead, Spec.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, the RAM definitely did. The Baroness was hard to get at first, and then like a year later, they restocked her and made her easy to get.
Well, if anybody remembers this, in the first 2 days of release of the breaker for Street Date, I know people were getting it like a week and a half before by using Pop Finder. But if you got it on that Sunday, Monday, they had some incredible sale and they marked it half price. So a lot of people got it for like $12.50 in the first 2 days, and then they fixed the app. So I don't know if anybody in the chat remembers that. I definitely took advantage of it. I even took my receipt back from the week before because I wanted to build up RAMs for my army. You know what
I mean? Let's go ahead and let's target back to, no pun intended, McFarlane with the Agent Liberty. What do you guys think about that one?
I don't know anything about the character.
So I actually remember this. Isn't he part of the Sons of Liberty? That was a short comic book run in the 90s.
I'm not sure, but this is a perfect example for an exclusive. Like, you want something that people won't miss except the diehards.
Right.
So this is a McFarlane Toys store exclusive. And if you miss out on it, chances are you probably weren't aiming for it anyway. So that's
Right.
all well and good.
And it looks like what I remember from the comic book. So,
and here's the
that
platinum
one I don't remember.
Yeah. Must have been really popular to be a Chase. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do think that McFarlane overdoes it with the platinums. Just like Specs said, he's able, you come across him. You come across him in the store. I don't think when a wave of 4 comes out that every single character needs a platinum version, because then you're just dividing your fan base. But when you have something like the blue Azrael Batman, that's a fun one. What I think they should have done is made the blue one that's more known, make that one the main line, and the red one as the chase. And then
but
your
McFarlane knows what he's doing. He
knows.
Scarcity is a tool. And if one figure is hard to find, that makes the entire line valuable. It's a game, and not a fun one. Not a fun one, because it's about making you want something instead of making it readily available. I'm not cool with that, if I'm being honest.
Oh,
Well,
I mean,
Todd McFarlane I was just going to say, Todd McFarlane is a drug dealer to his fan base.
Yeah.
Because those guys in those groups are like, give me that plastic. You got any more of them platinums? Sorry, that was bad, Chappelle.
I thought that was Cheech and Chong. Never mind.
Got any more than platinum?
Oh, there you go. You got it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, like, that Joker was sort of the beginning of the end, if I remember correctly, with McFarlane. And then he was getting into the out there designs and characters that I didn't really follow as much for a while. But it was the Nightfall Batman, I think, is the one where I finally was like, I'm done. I'm over it. I can't. You made Nightfall Batman a Walmart exclusive. You couldn't get it. If it showed up, I was following and it would pop up on the app. And by the time I was able to get to the app, it'd be gone again. And it was just like, how could I get in, like, people would sit there and say, but that's not a staple character. That's not a mainstay character. That's not, what are you talking about? That character drove a huge portion of the 90s comic book, after Nightfall. Like, you can't tell me that that's an ancillary character that isn't as well known. So it's okay that he's an exclusive. Like, that's BS.
No, he was a pivotal part of that story.
Yeah.
Really what they were trying to do was they were trying to tell a story about, like, these crazy anti-hero characters taking the spotlight in the 90s, and they were trying to revert back to the purity of how Batman handled his justice. You know what I mean? And yes, that was a pivotal version of Batman or Azrael. And yeah, it was crazy that it was only at Walmart.
Yeah, I never saw him.
Sorry. Yeah. So Yomik was talking about how one of the sets of the Cyborg Build-A-Figure, the Flash, was canceled, and because of that Flash figure and that Cyborg part skyrocketed. So that made him get out the line, and I can't argue with that. Earl was also asking about the McFarlane Marvel statues. I think they look great, and I think it's pretty cool to see McFarlane playing in that space with that Spider-Man and that Captain America. So,
and this is what I mean by he's a drug lord. He is the kingpin right now. People are coming to him with different properties and knowing that they're going to sell. I mean, that Spider-Man statue, whew, I mean, everybody out there, right? Anybody that gets Legends, they're trying to put it into that specific pose that McFarlane made famous on that cover of Spider-Man. And now he's the one making a figure. Now it's a static figure, but that thing is badass, right?
Mm-hmm. I I have a feeling that McFarlane has been chasing the Marvel license for a very, very long time. I don't think Marvel came to him. I could be wrong. I think he's been going to them. And I think and nothing has been said to me directly. I'm extrapolating my own theories based on somebody in the industry that I spoke with.
Wait, I have to look up that word, extrapolating.
Pull out, but not in the sexual connotation. I had been told prior to the statues releasing that that McFarlane was doing some Marvel stuff, and that it was all sort of like a big test to see what will happen with it and where it's going to go. And obviously there's contracts in place. So I think probably because of the contracts, McFarlane can only do statues and can't touch figures. Because Hasbro has an exclusive on that. Sure. I think he's chomping at the bit. He would love nothing more than to not only take these licenses, but I think he wants to dominate the game, right? He wants Ninja Turtles. He wants Marvel. He wants Star Wars. And I think what opened up a lot of this to happening was COVID. Everything that we've talked about, the Roscon events, Hasbro sitting here posting that they missed their profit margins, which is leading to a year or two of like very heavy retools and paint decos through all their lines and whatever. So I think that opened the door to them finally saying, all right, Todd, we'll let's try page punchers. Let's try this. Like, let's try, that's my thought, my theory, my whatever. But
no, I got what you're saying. No, but his hands are like everywhere, and he's like, you know what I mean? Just like a kingpin. He's like, I got my hands in that neighborhood, You know, it's all coming to me.
It's an interesting thing, right? So, you know, he's doing Spawn, and the Spawn line seems to have really slowed down as of late. And hang on one second. I got to go open the door real fast. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Yeah, KJ, what are your thoughts on McFarlane kind of handling all this kind of stuff?
It's interesting because, like, you have this stuff here that he's known for. Like, he made his name with DC Multiverse, right? Like, stuff like this. So it's interesting to see him go from that to this. It's like, if he's doing this, even if it's just statues, well, what can he do? He can do like what Diamond Select does. Like, he could do GI Joe statues. He could do Lord of the Rings. He could do sports figures and all sorts of stuff. Like, he's doing it all.
Right. And he did those page punchers, just like you just brought up, of GI Joe. So
and Transformers.
Yep.
But what I was gonna say real quick is it's just like, you know, I'll button it up rather than go on a full rant in terms of like the only regular Spawn we've got was the Kickstarter, and he hasn't released another one. But Spawn was a very agile character, much like Spider-Man. There isn't any of his characters or his figures that you can take and put in the poses that are in his artwork, right? So I don't honestly believe that if he ever had the chance to make a Spider-Man figure, that it would ever be as articulated as what Mafex does, or even Hasbro, or he's going to stick to his formula. And I could be totally wrong. And so it's just like, I don't want to see him get certain licenses because while his articulation isn't terrible, I don't think it's up to snuff with what a lot of the other guys can do.
Well,
good.
I was just going to say, so he got into the action figure space because he felt that we weren't getting what we should get as fans. And then I remember just in the late 90s, early 2000s, people always said, yeah, McFarlane's amazing, but you can't move them. They're like mini statues that with maybe a little bit of articulation. And as we got into the pandemic and he got the DC license, now you have a lot of articulation, but it's 2024. And I know that this figure is probably like a year or two old, but you're still getting the the pins and all that kind of stuff. The articulation's not bad, but I don't think this is for the collector that's going to probably get these in a static pose and leave them there. You know what I mean? There's no kids playing with this. I mean, unless my nieces come over, and I have no problem if the toy's open, my nieces rule everything, so they get to play with them. So if a figure's open, it's on my shelf, they can play with them. But you're not seeing a lot of kids playing with these figures. So do they need to move as much? Do you know what I mean?
If they have an iconic,
I don't know.
If they have an iconic pose, I think that they do. I think you should be able to get them into your favorite style of art that you've seen them from. So a character like Spider-Man, clearly he's got to be able, like even the Hasbro ones don't hit the poses that they probably should be able to, but they get pretty close.
Right.
You know, and then you've got the Mafex, the Amazing Yamaguchi, and all those that can really like hit those super dynamic poses and move. McFarlane he doesn't care about that stuff. And that I know for a fact. You know, to him, it's about getting the figures out there, getting them into people's hands. That's why there's such a fast turnaround. And I've said it before, like Hasbro, 9-month, 11-month turnaround from design to manufacturing to getting it on the shelf. And McFarlane's like 3 to 6 months. He just wants to churn them out and get them on the shelf and overflow the aisles and get, you know, have his product there front and center. And that's why you see so much reuse, so much, you know, some sloppy paint work, some lack of paint work, some crappy head molds compared to like, he's just there to push. He's, as you said, he's the drug dealer. He's pushing it out, and that's his business plan. And it works for him. It's totally successful. You know, he's got the collectors eating out of his hand because they're getting all these characters, these deep cuts that they really want.
Yeah, and with the platinums, again, it goes back to he knows the addiction. He knows that people are going to order multiples to get that chase. So I don't know if that's a great thing. And that actually goes into our topic tonight, and we're going to touch on that. But let's go to KJ. We have some more slides on McFarlane, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to get your your thoughts on this. We have Batman 66. We have Dick Grayson as Batman in some strange Dragon Ball Z fusion of Batman and Superman. Let's touch on Dick Grayson first. What do you guys think about this one?
Go ahead. Spec.
I mean, it's another Batman. It looks like he has a wired cape, which that looks to be a new thing for McFarlane.
Yeah, they're all going wired going forward, as far as I know.
And a lot of the movie Batman had wired capes.
It's about damn time. Those freaking that was the other thing that I didn't like about McFarlane, were those static vinyl capes that just like it would make them back heavy, and then you'd have them posed on your shelf and they constantly fall over. I don't know too much about Dick Grayson's run as Batman. To me, it looks like another standard Batman costume. It looks like a good Batman costume. Other than that, I don't really have too much on this one.
Grant Morrison's run introduced Dick Grayson as Batman. It was great. Oh, go ahead.
And no, my problem with this Batman is you have no idea this is Dick Grayson unless somebody tells you. Nobody knows this is Dick Grayson. This looks like Batman, and it could be any Batman from any of these Elseworld stories. If they gave another head sculpt, I think there was a more distinctive Dick Grayson costume. I can't think of what it looked like, but that just looks like just another version of Batman.
I'm sure there'll be like an unmasked Platinum or a...
Yeah, more than likely. KJ, what were your thoughts on these?
I like Grant Morrison's one of my favorites. So Morrison, Frank Quitely, I love whatever they do. So just as a fan of those two, I would probably get this one. to go along with the Damian Wayne Robin. Like, it was just a great comic, and I just recommend it for anyone who's a fan. But what say you about this? This is Batman Superman Fusion.
It's Frankenstein's monster. I mean, I don't like. I could almost be cool with everything, but the green gloves kind of kill it for me. And I don't know if that's supposed to be like a kryptonite thing or a what. But it draws your eye away from everything else, and it's such a bright, glaring, obnoxious design in the first place with the blue and the reds and I mean, I don't know. It looks like a complete mishmash. Is it Superboy? Is it the Red Hood? Is it Superman? Is it Lex Luthor?
It's this. It comes from this. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like
it's from an updated. Yeah, it's from like an updated World's Finest run where I could be wrong, but they fused together, and I don't know the story. I don't know how this happened or why. This is something I would skip, but I would think, I mean, it's true to the source material. It's not bad looking. It's an interesting take for sure, but it's not my bag, baby.
There's nothing wrong with that. But if I had to point out something as being my bag, I guess it would have to be this right here, this Batman 66. What say you to this?
I knew this was coming. I had been told that the 5-inch line or 6-inch line, whatever they call it, was moving up into the 7-inch line. I think it looks good. It's not a dead-on Adam West, but it's pretty darn close. When he does those live action figures, it's very hit or miss. I mean, obviously they didn't get the rights to Ben Affleck, and all the Affleck Batman look god awful in the head sculpts. But like the George Clooney is kind of close, and the Val Kilmer is kind of close. And so this Adam West is pretty spot on, I think. I debate about getting it. I think for scale's sake, the 5-inch one or 6, whatever it is, I think they call it 6-inch, would be more in my bag, but obviously it doesn't have as much articulation. But it's nice to see. It's nice to see that it fills that gap for the collectors that said, I want 66 Batman, but I don't get that size. I'm so invested in the 7-inch. Now they can have it too. And I like that it comes with the Batusi fingers.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Zen, what say you?
Listen, I know that not everybody is here for McFarlane. I already saw that in the comments. But this is a fun figure. And to me, this could be a fantastic exclusive. Not everybody's going to go after this. You know what I mean? And this could be the type of thing that sits on the shelves. But this is a fun figure. I mean, I remember this being on syndication and coming home after school, and you would throw on Batman, and we all know the theme song. This nails it. I just don't know how many people are going to buy this. So this could be a cool exclusive rather than, I think we'll get to it, but the Batman Beyond figures, there's a huge fan base there that is going to get kind of screwed on that SDC exclusive. And this probably would have been a better exclusive. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but
yeah. I think you make a strong argument, because when we get to that Batman Beyond exclusive, I'm probably one of the ones that'll end up getting screwed on it, because I don't get McFarlane, but I will get that one if I can.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would like those as well. I mean, that old man Wayne is freaking badass, man.
Is badass. I wasn't getting those figures when the first round came out. I have the Mezco Batman Beyond, and it would pair perfectly with that. Yeah, so I want that one. KJ, you got a photo of that one?
pulling it up right now. I had it.
Wayne.
Yeah. Because everything's coming up, the older Batman Beyond stuff. So let's see here. Okay, here we go. There it is.
Yeah, it's cool. It's sleek. It's a great callback. It's a great callback to the series, which is really one of the best series I think that they had in the whole Batman cartoon lineup. It was a solid sequel series. Just this from start to finish, even that one shot Return of the Joker movie. Yeah, that was badass. And this captures that character really well.
Yep. I wish it had a little more ab articulation so you could have him sitting, so he could sit at the computer. But other than that, I mean, like, if you're a fan of this series, I feel like this is a must-have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pac photos.
And I don't know anybody who's not a fan of that. KJ, you can just tell me to shut up. I know I keep talking a lot tonight.
No, it's fine. Because I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling up what it goes, and this is what it goes for. This is what we're looking at.
Jeez.
Okay.
Somebody's already got theirs up.
Spec, you better not sleep on this, man. You got one shot to get this.
You know, I'm gonna play this one since I don't get the McFarlane stuff typically. I'll have my, my alarm set, my reminder, whatever. But if I don't get it, I'm not gonna sweat it.
All right. So there is a 7-inch Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne, but we're talking about the 6-inch one.
So they are going to come out with the 7-inch
because it's already out. People are buying it. Not buying it overseas, but they're buying it. And they're not waiting.
Oh, so I'm going to have a talk with Steven because he was arguing and saying that it wasn't a 7-inch. And there
isn't. Steven's usually right about these things, so I don't argue with him. He's a smart guy.
Oh, no, that's 7-inch all day.
But there's still the DC Collectible 6-inch one, which is the one that this is a callback to.
Oh,
so you can chill out $300, you can get this.
So KJ Pac is saying that is the 6-inch.
Yeah. Oh, that's the 6-inch? Oh, yeah. My bad. Oh, Steven was wrong.
Huh.
Who is Thomas Hennessy?
6-inch?
He's had enough of his farts and he's leaving. Okay. Enjoy your time on the toilet, sir.
I love my farts. I eat so healthy. All right, moving on. I love the superpowers, and we have an exclusive convention, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. What say you about these black and white superpowers?
It's a perfect convention exclusive.
Yes. This is what you want as an exclusive. I would get on this in the store, so I'm okay if I don't get this. I will say Superpowers is one of the best lines out there. And the reason I say that is it's a true continuation of Superpowers that we had as kids. It's got the same card art. It fits in with the original figures, and it's all new figures or new characters. But yeah, I could care less if I get this, but somebody there at the convention, this is perfect.
Tony's Figs, my brother from the Terradrome, says JLA all day. Or is he passing on the? I'm confused.
He's passing on those.
Okay. Yeah, that is the DC Direct animated skill on that previous Bruce Wayne. Hot take, I suppose. And Jason S agrees. Loves the superpowers line despite aversion to McFarlane. I have a lot of the superpowers. I can't grab them right now without a column of Babel action figures toppling. So that's on me for setting it up that way. All right. Well, what about this? This one, this Funeral for a Friend Superman blew me the fuck away. And I want a 1/6 scale statue of this. But what say you guys about this one?
Zen, you go, because I think we talked about this last week.
I like this. This is, I mean, it's a straight throwback to the aftermath of the death of Superman. This is a great convention exclusive. This is one that, yeah, maybe I would like to have, but I don't need it. It's very cool looking, and you know what it's evoking and the source material that it's pulling from. So this one I like. Yeah. So you said you guys touched on this last week.
Yep. And I agree with everything you said. I think it looks great. I think it's a nostalgic release. And yeah, I'm not going to get
it. Jason, that's a solid. Well, this is a solid question.
Yeah. If it was posed,
why
I
is
would buy this 1/12 scale posed, 1/6 scale posed. The articulation I have to ignore, basically. There's only one pose this thing needs to strike.
It's just because
this maybe is like he's doing those statues.
Yeah, maybe somebody
he's in the pose.
Maybe somebody wants a different statue pose with their setup. You know, they want the Rocky pose, or they want.
Well, they're wrong, Spec. They're wrong. This is the only pose you need for this thing.
I will agree with you.
You know what? That's great. I didn't even think of that. That would be some great photography to put him in the Rocky pose.
Just crazy.
That would be a lot of fun.
Poses, yeah.
Or he's like one of those street artists, you know, like the guys that paint themselves all silver and
he's graffitisizing himself. That's great.
He's standing outside the Man Theater.
He's manscaping. That's what he's doing.
Here you go.
So there you go, Jason S. Performance artist in the park, Superman. He just holds that pose, and then somebody walks up to him, and
right.
An in action figure. That's
describes McFarlane to a T. So,
and you know what? I think we're going to touch on McFarlane more when we truly get in. We kind of already got into the topic. McFarlane does create FOMOPhobia.
Yes.
For his fan base, and we'll get into that. What do we got up next? Let's see.
We got the Joes, man. We have shout out to 3D Joes, R. Carson Metaxas, a friend of the show. He's been on many times before, and his fantastic omnibus hardcover is available. You can get it by going to 3djoes.com, going to Art of 3D Joe. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. It is pride and joy of my collection. Lots of cool art pieces, interviews, just a blast from the past. And now it is available on Big Bag Toy Store.
Ooh. If you do not have this and you are a Big Joe fan, I highly recommend it. I would go grab mine, but I don't feel like herniating a disc at the moment.
Pretty much.
It is a heavy tome.
Yes.
It's very heavy.
There's also the Blu-ray Digipack. You can buy that as well from Big Bad Toy Store, $34.99. $4 flat shipping. Can't go wrong.
Is this what we're getting? People that backed it?
Yeah.
You guys, it's still coming, right?
Yeah, we're going to have to pay for shipping on it because it being whatever it is. I mean, Carson seems like he's pretty straightforward about everything. He went above and beyond to get the Blu-rays made because who's using physical media anymore?
Right.
And, you know, he went out of pocket buying old computers and trying old software that had been disabled. And so, like, you know, and I think his business is video production back in North Carolina. I don't know to what scale, but I know it seems like he has a background or had a background dealing with DVD pressing and everything. So, you know, I think he spent well over $5,000 of his own money trying to figure out how to get those pressed. And he finally has. And he said, he sent out an update through the Kickstarter saying, hey, the downside is I'm going to have to ask you guys to pay for shipping. So I think when they're ready, there's going to be another email out for us to pay for the shipping.
And I actually got a chance to talk to him about this at Joe Fest. Not the shipping portion. I didn't know about that. He may not have known about that at the time, or maybe it was something he was working on. But he's like a true gentleman out there, man. He is just such a nice guy. And he does not talk ill about anybody. He had nothing but good things to say about the whole process, about the obstacles that he hit and overcame to do this project, and just a totally nice guy. So if he needs a little help with shipping, let's help him out. But I will say this, and I don't say this lightly. If you decide to only collect one GI Joe thing, say you weren't doing action figures or anything at all, it is the #1 GI Joe collectible in my mind. If you're a real American Hero fan and that's what got you into collecting, this is really all you need.
Yeah, it's a love letter in the form of almost 800 pages and 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It's also an effective murder weapon.
If you can lift it over your head, you gotta. But I want to hear more about Baldy getting sucked in by Southern Charm.
No, he was just a nice dude. He was helping everybody out. He was hands-on throughout Joe Fest. He did not dismiss anybody. He was just like a very friendly guy, and a lot of people should be like that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to be friendly and to give a little bit extra.
No, it also doesn't cost you anything to be a dick, KJ.
No, being
free
a dick
too.
is free. That's why I'm stuck with you two motherfuckers right now. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no,
it's free, but it's not.
No, man, I'm telling you, I hung out with Punk, so I know it costs nothing to be mean.
Punk, who just showed up in the chat.
Shout out to Punk in the chat. #Club Tarkin. Earl Whitford also is asking if we have thoughts on the Hunter Brown suit Wolverine from Sideshow. We don't do a lot of 1/6, definitely premium 1/6. If it's Sideshow, I bet it looks dope. We got a lot of show before we get to our main attraction covering everything FOMOPhobia. So, Zen, let me hear what you got to say about these Cosmic Legions. What do you think about these? What do y'all think about this stuff? It's on sale right now, so that's that.
I mean, I think their stuff looks fantastic, but I'm not going down that road. The only thing I want of theirs, and I had a pre-order on one and I canceled it for the time being, is I just want some good-looking skeletons. I regret not getting the Foosh yokai skeletons, and I want some good realistic-looking skeletons from these guys. But other than that, like, I can't go down that road.
You see?
I mean, they're really well done. I did not realize that they were on sale, so that's a little bit enticing. But again, this will kind of get into our topic tonight about sustaining collecting and, making choices. These guys are killing it. I don't think I've seen anything that's not like a piece of artwork. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I wanted to go all in, and I was broke as hell. And these being on sale, it's like burning my brain right now not getting these. I got the Skybound Compendium, and that ate up a lot of my discretionary spending. I mean, I made an exception for the GameStop sale, which we'll touch on later. So I chose the Joes, and that means I had to skip these. But man, what I wouldn't give to get my hands of soft goods, the accessories, the portraits, it's just, man.
Well, they're
I kind of wish
they're
that
beautiful. Yeah. They're beautiful looking figures. They're really well done, and it kind of touches into your interview that you just had with Corey, right?
And Fred Axon, yeah.
Well, it's an independent company, right? And you want to support these independent startups, but where do you go? There's so many different directions, and I wish these guys well. But I don't know. I mean, I'm all in on GI Joe, and unfortunately, or fortunately, it's owned by a large corporation that can push it out to more people. But I'm pulling for these guys. They do beautiful work. So I'd like to see these independents really get the backing that they deserve, because they're fans, right? They're fans like we are.
And Spec, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I can't remember what that subline is that they have with the Red Death and the what do they call those?
The Mythic Legions.
Yeah.
Well, the Mythic Legions are that's the more fantasy based, but then they have the ones that the Figure Obscura. Thank you, Jason.
Okay, yeah.
Like those the Egyptian set, the Anubis.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. God, I would have loved to have gotten those, and I still really want the Headless Horseman set.
Yeah, if you go to Hello Dope Toys, I think Hello Dope Toys still has it.
Yeah, I know they still got it. I prefer the Big Bad exclusive, the Spectral Green. But again, it's a big piece. Where does it fit in? Where am I going to put it? Like, not opening that can of worms.
Yeah. I mean, I think my collection is pretty much where it's going, what it looks like aesthetically, the flow of it, the display of it, and it's going to take a lot to like remap it. You know, it would take something. I guess it would take something like this. Like, it's coming, y'all. This is coming. This is pretty much confirms what we were thinking about. This is the HasLab, July 25th, 2024. We know what this is. So we might as well.
What is this image? When did this drop?
What, this?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man, but all you had to do was just open up Instagram. Everybody had this on their Instagram.
Oh man, I'm being sarcastic as F.
I knew.
This blew up this afternoon, man. You know, like Yojo June continues, right? And yeah. I mean, it almost confirms.
It's this.
It almost confirms it.
It's this. It is this. We are getting a Rattler HasLab, folks. All right.
Well, I'm going to Dumb and Dumber this, okay? It's 99% this, right? I'm in that 1% hoping that there's a chance that it's not this. And I don't want that misconstrued. I want a Rattler. I love the Rattler. It's iconic. It's not a HasLab. This thing will sell itself. Do you know what I mean? We've already proven at Ace that we want the vehicles and that we will want this Rattler. So I could see it as a Pulse exclusive, so that HasLab or that Hasbro gets all the profits. But it's a given. This is not a dream project to me. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm alone on that. I don't know.
This is what people
think, KJ?
I mean, I see what TK Storm is saying about the 375 Rattler. We have a 375 Sky Striker. It would be hilarious if this ended up being 375. I still got love for 375. Like, do you really want a classified scale Rattler? Because that, if it is 375, it won't be the first 375 HasLab we've gotten. You know?
Well, so, you know what? That's a great point, and something you know, I kind of thought about. But didn't Target just do a Rattler? Not that many. Well, you know, it
was 25th anniversary.
We went through a time jump. Yeah, we went through a time jump with the pandemic. We did that 5-year snap thing, and it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was further back than I realized.
2008, 2009, they did the Rattler and they did the Tiger Rat.
Yeah,
and I had them both, and I'm so pissed that I got rid of them, but it had to happen at the time. So
yeah, I would not be mad then if it's 375. Then that's actually great. I would like that.
So here's that 25th anniversary Rattler you were talking about, right?
Right.
Lots of bombs, lots of missiles.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think?
I mean, to me,
do you think they'll piss off the fan base if they do it?
No. I think that this will be a big, like, everything is kind of a test for them, right? They keep wading deeper and deeper into the waters. So the HISS tank was the test of, can we do a 6-inch scale tank? Will people want it? Boom, it blew up big. Then it was the Vamp. Okay, if we do a Vamp at this price point, are people going to buy it? Boom, it blew up big. So now we're going to do the Stinger. We know off the bat that everybody shouted to the hilltops, why didn't you do a classified Sky Striker? And the answer is, it's too goddamn big. Even I don't want a classified Sky Striker.
Right.
It's just, but the Rattler is just a little bit smaller, kind of fits in there, works with the Dragonfly. And I think, you know, they're going to sit there. They're going to keep pushing the boundary. How big can we go within reason before the buyers say, okay, we can't do this anymore? And I think that the Rattler will be a huge test of that.
Friend of the show. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying I agree with that. Go ahead, KJ.
Well, friend of the show, Punk with Toys says, it's not an O-ring Rattler. Emily said they learned they can't do a HasLab or something that you can easily get on eBay still. So, you know, which is interesting. I wonder, how much is a Rattler still going for on eBay? I'm just curious.
Yeah, while you're pulling that up, I mean, what Spectra said, this will be a testament of how far they can push these vehicles, right? Because space is a commodity. So we're getting a Dragonfly. That thing is going to be the size of a small baby. You know what I mean? So the Rattler really isn't. I know people argue with me on this. The Rattler is not as big as you think it is because its wingspan. Take the wings off, and with the fuselage, it's just length. It's not a huge. Yeah, this is starting to turn into like that's what she said talk. But I don't know. I mean, some people might pass because it's too large once you have it all together. But again, I'm going to stick to my guns and say that a Rattler will sell itself. You don't need a HasLab. I would love it if they did something else. Something else. You know what could fit on a shelf? A Moray, a Cobra Moray.
So
it's length, but it's, you know, the width. You could get that thing on a shelf just like you could with the HISS and with the Dragonfly.
There's a thing with aquatic vehicles that the same person I know that works in the toy industry was trying to explain that through whatever guidelines or things, rules that they have to follow from a legal standpoint, if it is a water toy, a boat, a ship, a whatever, it has to have the ability to actually go in the water. Now, I don't know if that holds true with that Fortnite boat. I know that they had plugs and stuff in the bottom, so I assume it can go. And so I think that poses a lot of issues for manufacturers making boat-like toys.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to go prestige worldwide on this. You know what I mean? Boats and hose. You get your boats, you get your hose. Right now, we don't have any boats. So
where the hose at? Right. Sabir Del Norte says, not interested in 375 personally. If that's the only way they'll do a plane, I love it for the people who wanted it in 375 rather than 112. I think this is going to be classified scale. But do you think that we're going to get any more 375 retro scale HasLabs in the future?
No, it's not on my radar. I think the Sky Striker was it. I think Hasbro thinks that O-rings are dead, and dead to the point that they're releasing the Ghostbusters. But it's just like, man. I think if they found a proper, you saw the Joe Fest, the love for the 1/18th scale. People already have classic play sets, classic, vehicles, a proper continuation, kind of what Skeletron is doing, Delta 17, Operation Recall. The love is there. People will support those projects. Hasbro has to get out of releasing stuff that we already got. You know what I mean?
But I also want to see, like, what are the distribution numbers? Like, what are the production runs on these Operation Recalls and the Skeletron? Like, those are much
longbows,
much smaller runs would be my guess, and those companies can do that, and they fill a hole in a much smaller market where Hasbro wants to cover a bigger part of the pie, and they want the new collectors, and they want the younger collectors, and they want the older collectors, and they want, they want a sure thing. They want to know that they can move 15,000 units because that's more important to the penny counters than it is to move 300 units and sell out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's broad strokes versus like niche.
Well, let's be honest with you guys. GI Joe is niche.
It is, but I mean, it seems to be. Just go buy the Skybound Compendium. I really wanted to back it. I didn't back it just because the timing is terrible. But it funded in 6 minutes. It became the most successful and highest grossing comic book Kickstarter of all time, ending at like $3.6 million raised. They just kept throwing add-on tiers, and then, it was trading cards or whatever, but they kept adding them, and it just kept hitting tier after tier after tier. And so, it's niche, but I don't know. It hits. There's an audience for it.
Well, this hits the same way that Carson's project hits, the omnibus. This is something that does not take up a lot of space. It reaches more people, right? There's people of all economic backgrounds that could still get that and just be happy with that purchase and say, I've got my GI Joe collection now. Do you know what I mean? So the niche that I'm talking about is the figures themselves. Not everybody is going to Joe Fest. Not everybody is collecting classified. So I mean, it's still kind of a niche thing. And this is a great point. This is I'm not familiar with this guy. A punk with toys. Hasbro wants to make millions of dollars and not thousands. O-ring make thousands, not millions. That's a good point, newbie to the chat. It's like, I get that. It's weird because they look at superpowers, right? We were talking about McFarlane. That's a proper continuation of that line, and it continues to sell. I don't know how well it sells for McFarlane, but it's in a nice price range where people don't mind spending $10, and they're continuing the superpowers lines. If Hasbro could continue an O-ring line for $10, so he's not new to the channel then. He's not new to the channel.
As an adult's collectibles, so a punk with toys.
Right. Okay.
Right out of Canada.
But yeah, like, I don't know if Hasbro did GI Joe for $10 a figure in their O-rings and their continuation, which is what we know that Super 7's going to make, but Super 7's going to start at what? 20, 25 bucks?
Yeah.
And I love what they're doing. I love the twins that they premiered.
The mirror packaging, yeah.
Yeah, and that he's already said, we're not going to give you figures that you had already. Well, that's the fucking key right there. Don't give us figures we had already. Go for the deep cuts. Go for updated versions. To me, when I'm looking at those little figures, I don't need the articulation that they had. That was the 25th anniversary line, right? That did the updated modern articulation. It's brilliant. But for me, O-rings are O-rings. So when I'm looking at that scale, that's what I want. I want that old style, and Skeletron knows that. Delta 17 knows that. Operation Recall knows that. They're tapping into that market. Hasbro's missing an opportunity. I'll shut up. Go ahead.
No. I just want to give a shout out to Skeletron and RoboSkull. They have a tribute to the Wild Weasel that you can get and you can order from their backer kit. Also wanted to give a shout out to this crazy ass Fun School Wild Weasel. When you do bold disco colors, I love it. I love that stuff. And this comes from Joe A Day. So shout out to that blog, old school blog. Keep up the good work. I want that crazy Fun School Wild Weasel. That's what I want.
So what if we get that in the HasLab?
They're not that brave. They're not brave enough to do it. I don't think so.
I don't think Hasbro is missing out on an opportunity. Well, okay, the way that you're putting it, maybe they are, but you know, the way that the bean counters and everything go is that they're going to sit there and say, we tried doing O-ring, we tried bringing it back, we tried, and it just wasn't as successful as we wanted it. So we're just going to license it out to Super 7 and see what, you know, how it hits with them.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a continuation. They were just rehashing things that we had, which worked for somebody like me who got rid of all my stuff decades ago, and it was a way to sort of get it back. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, the O-ring is a great nostalgic thing. I still have some. I inherited a collection from a buddy. I can go through those whenever I want, and it's still cool. And I can get what I want out of that reading Carson's book. You know, it's like once you start kind of playing with them or posing them or doing the photography or whatever, I want classified all day long.
Right. No, I agree with that. And that's why I said Carson's book, you know, I think that's a killer collectible. That is something that you could gift one of your friends that doesn't collect classified, and they're going to love you for it because it is an ultimate love letter to a real American hero line. You know what I mean? Without trying to chase things down, without trying to collect or go to great lengths to get something that you didn't have as a kid.
Something that we didn't have as a kid. I want to touch on this, unless there's more you want to talk about the HasLabs. So, for example, before we touch on to these Ninja Turtle Mirage figures that are now available for pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store, and also Entertainment Earth. I did that in reverse. Before we talk about this, I want to go back to David Allen's question, which he said, what do you think will be the 4 figures for this HasLab? So I'll be right back because I have something to say about this one. But what do you guys think will be the 4 figures in the HasLab?
I think you're going to get Wild Weasel. That's the gimme. I would be pleasantly surprised and excited if we got the Paraviper, which was a new design that was introduced during the 25th anniversary. It's one of the few 25th anniversary figures I still have, and it was a badass figure. It still is a badass figure. Who would the other 2 be? Zen, you're pretty good at figuring this stuff out. What do you think?
I was pretty good with the Dragonfly, and we all know I got General Hawk wrong. I still think that they kind of did a bait and switch on that one. I go back to our interview. I go back to the interview that a Toy Kind of did with the GI Joe team. And if you guys remember, Emily said this is the year of Cobra Commander. So I wouldn't be shocked if we get some version of Cobra Commander in this as the final tier. I know they already did that with the Hiss, so you're kind of rehashing. But you never know. He could be another one. And I'm going to go with Stanley on this one. I think... Yeah, I can't get it to come up, but yeah, here we go. I think we're going to get a Pilot Baroness. That's definitely one of my thoughts. Wild Weasel, obviously. You might get something generic like a Gunner. There's a few guesses here for the Gunner. There's a fella here who also, Tani's Figs. He says Pilot Baroness as well. He's with Stanley on that. But yeah, it's and then you get something like a Ground Crew. With Cobra, you can have fun, right? Cobra was always fun. You could have, I don't know, you could have what's it called when you're holding these flasher things? I don't know what that's called,
yeah,
but
yeah.
You can.
That's Ground Crew. I don't know the specific.
Yeah.
Did I freeze up?
No.
So collector, they won't put that behind a paywall. There's been a big figure like that. I would be shocked if it went behind a paywall.
Yeah. And I'm with Felipe here. The hooded Cobra Commander is not happening. It's not happening anytime soon, if ever. So it's going to be something else.
You'll have to go to Fresh Monkey Fiction for that one.
Pretty much.
Toyomic, I think, nailed basically what I was thinking. Wild Weasel, Pilot Baroness, Paraviper, and a random Gunner. And they could pull a bait and switch. As much as I want the Paraviper, they could turn that into, so Super 7 may give us a clue, right? For their Ultimates SDCC exclusives, they're doing a Glenda. No, sorry, that was Zartan. For the Reaction exclusives, they're doing Glenda. And then, is it Cobra Monitor? Is that what that Snake Eyes repaint is called? So,
yep.
It could be that because they have the retro Snake Eyes mold, so they could easily do a Cobra Monitor as one of them, and it would kind of pair up with what they did with the Dragonfly. So,
right.
Not that I want that one; it does look cool, but they could go in a lot of different directions.
Yeah.
Well, we've learned right now with right. Well, we've learned with the HasLabs right now that. The Cobra Commander we got with the Hiss was the Mickey Mouse version. So they're definitely not going to hide mainline characters back there. They may give us another version of a character. I really wouldn't be shocked if they give us like a different deco Wild Weasel and then release Wild Weasel in the classified line. In the main line.
Like a retro card.
Like a retro. Yeah. Shout out to Jason S.
Yes, shout out Jason S. Thank you so much for the super chat. Lobotomax. Let me find what that even is real quick.
Yeah, that makes me think Star Wars. Lobot.
Yeah.
All right. No, I'm pulling it up.
With the thing.
That's great. Let's take a look at this.
Oh.
So this is Lobotomax.
Yeah, this was when they went to space.
That's great. Yes, this is the next tier. This is going to be the tier for the Rattler. The Rattler is going to do reconnaissance and run into this. And then they're going to need the Star Brigade to deal with this guy. This was this was on the Real American Hero line. That's a blast from the past, bro.
Yeah, that was kind of after my time. I remember seeing them, but
that was right after Battle Force 2000, right? When they went into Star Brigade.
If Classified Series lasts long enough to do this, I will be there. I'll be there. I'll put these with my Cosmic Legions. That's crazy.
That's funny. That's a good call.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Jason S.
I would do it just out of the sheer absurdity of it, and because I would be that deep into the line anyway. Like, how could you not?
Yeah, you kind of have to at that point. Yeah.
I think they're at the point, though. How funny would it be if we got the window Viper? I mean, not in a HasLab. I think that's an SDCC PulseCon exclusive, right?
Yeah,
the Viper.
The Viper.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be nice. That'd be nice.
Yep. Super
deep cut. All right, that's enough of the Joes. I can't believe I'm saying that. That's enough Joes, man. It's turtle time, man. TURTLE power up in this bitch. Shall we?
Damn.
Okay then. So we got the Mirage.
God.
We got the Mirage Comics, Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, $36.99 on Entertainment Earth. Don't forget to use ATKM 10 for all in-stock items. And we also have them at Big Bad Toy Store. $1 more, but hey, shipping's only $4, right? Including shout out to that Casey Jones Mezco. I missed the hell out of that. So let's start with you, Spec. What say you about these?
So I had the 4-pack. I found the 4-pack whenever it was last year. And they're awesome figures, and they were proudly displayed on my shelf. And as I killed shelf space, they were over here with a bunch of other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, mostly the cartoon and the movie stuff. They had to go in a bin because I needed space as the Joe collection grows, and that's my bread and butter line. And so as I was going through stuff over the past couple weeks, it came down to how many sets of Ninja Turtles do I really need? Because I have the cartoon, I have the Mezco, I have the movie, I have the whatever. And so these are really fantastic figures, but I just sold my set. And I had no regrets doing it. And I think that this is great because there are a lot of people that weren't able to get the 4-pack because it was exclusive. And these are not exclusive, and they change up, give you a couple extra accessories like a Mouser or, extra bow staff with the blade on the end or whatever it may be, Casey's mask. So I think it's.
Do they change it up enough? I'm sorry. It's hard for us to really banter back and forth sometimes. But
no, I got you. The green.
Do they change it up enough from the 4-pack?
The green may be a little brighter if I'm looking at it, and then they just added 1 or 2 extra accessories to each character. So like a bow and arrow, a Mouser, it looked like a book or some sort of box, the laser gun, Casey's mask, which comes with Casey Jones, and then Donatello comes with another bow staff that has a blade on it. So it's like they changed it up a little bit. Oh, and the Utrom and the Mouser. And the weapons that came with the Utrom robots. I know that there are plenty of people that still
Go ahead.
No, all I said was they should change it up. When you re-release something, you should change it up so that you're not pissing off your fan base.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, I know every time they come out with another set of the cartoon turtles, they always change the skin color a little bit, make it a little brighter, a little darker. And so, you know, looking at these, it looks like the skin tone may be just a little more vibrant. But the base accessories are the same, and then they just added a couple things. So in my opinion, I don't think that they changed it up a whole hell of a lot. But more so than any other line, like the TMNT guys, like if it has TMNT on it, they'll buy it. There are people going nuts. There's like some makeup set that comes in a mutagen canister that's exclusive to Walmart that people are like, I had my wife buy this for me. I had my girlfriend buy this for me. It's just like, why? Because you got a canister that looks like a mutagen can? Like, just because it says Ninja Turtles on it doesn't mean you have to buy it.
Right. And you guys have heard me say this in our chats. Wait, hold on one second. Achoo. So anyway, these the turtles are, oh man, right? They're the village bicycle. They are, everybody gets to ride them. You know, they are, right? They're the tricks. They're the whores of the toy universe. I mean, everybody is doing something with the turtles. The turtles will do any line. I mean, right?
Well, and
they're mixing. This is the dumbest. This is the dumbest mashup ever. This is the stupidest mashup ever, and I freaking love it. And it's all because Masters of the Universe, two whores got together on this. Masters of the Universe and Turtles.
And we're right there in the middle.
With such a stupid concept that I love it. It's so good. It is so
I never
good.
had a dime. But I had 2 nickels. And I think the nickels were more fun. So,
well, it's
yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that's why Laird cashed out, right? You know, it was like he didn't agree with where Nickelodeon and Playmates wanted to take everything and license everything, and he just was basically like, fine, buy them from me, and I want nothing to do with this property ever again. And they paid him, God, I don't know how many millions or billions that he got, and they're just licensing it out as much as they can. NECA, you get a license. Super 7, you get a license. McFarlane supposedly has a license.
Hasbro made some of the best Ninja Turtles you can get your hands on.
Which
the Power Ranger collabos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. Transformers. I just got the party wall up, and it is a phenomenal Transformer. The engineering behind it is amazing.
Do you have it?
I do have it.
Let me see.
Give me 1 second and I'll go grab it. It's got built-in storage for all the different heads and all the weapons, and like it's really well done. And now they're doing the original sketch Turtles from Playmates and the exclusive black and white ones to HDC. And then the I don't like them, but they're doing the retro style, kind of like the He-Man classic Turtles that have like the texture on them, sort of like the Mezcos. I mean, like it's just, if they can do it, they will. But once Mezco came out with their set, that became the definitive set for me.
Oh, that reminds me. Let's
party call up real quick.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna go over to his Instagram, over to Toy Optics, because that's pretty great stuff.
Now it's funny that you're going over to Toy Optics when he leaves.
That's why I waited. That's why I waited for him to leave.
Bastards.
He goes by the
If you're not following Toy Optics, Toy Optics is spec. And look, dude, you do some great fucking photography. You have fun.
This is great.
I love it.
Thank you.
You got some cheese dust on Count Chocula's face. He's snorting. He's
so
mainlining
it. So,
well, I just grabbed. I'm trying to find one from Zen. I just grabbed this guy, and I mean, he's got some great faces to do some fun stuff with too. So
Yeah.
I might have to revisit that photo.
And see, I wanted to talk about that as well because we're going to touch on all that for FOMOPhobia, right? Like going to Ross, going to all that. So we're going to touch on that too. So we're going to come back to this stuff because the Jita toys, it's just fun. But if you're not careful, you can miss out. You have a very thin window to get this stuff. But once again, let's just go back to Toy Optics, and I'm going to find some of your Ninja Turtle stuff because it's amazing. More people should be following it like that. That's hilarious. It really is.
That was a fun one.
Really great stuff here. All right, there we go. That's the one. Hold on a second. Yeah. So kudos, man. I like this. This alone, like really, we're trying to get your subs up because I think your stuff is great, man. And just keep at it for real.
Thank you.
But so give us a little behind the scenes with this, the Mezco Turtle shot out of the party wagon.
So obviously I was inspired by the opening scene from the cartoon, and I wanted to try and push the limit, and I'd had the party wagon that I'd ordered sitting. It's still back in the box because I don't have anywhere else to put it right now. Right next to me on the floor. My wife loves seeing it in the living room every day. Yeah, right.
All right.
But I wanted to do something with it. I got it. I wanted to open it up, take some photos. This is the second one I did with it. And obviously the interior is not nearly as spacious as the cartoon interior. So it required a little bit of fudging. So you can see at the bottom of the frame, the roof line. So the roof pops off, and I had to pull the roof off and move it forward a little bit, and then use a little Photoshop to extend the doors on top so that it was seamless and you didn't see the kibble inside the van. And then tried to pose the turtles as close as I could to what you see in the cartoon. I think I was probably about 85% there. And then everybody's like, do they really look up that high? And I wish they did, but that was a big cheat. That was I popped their heads off. I have a photo somewhere that I'll have to post another time, but I had to pop the heads off and use museum putty on the ball joint and then get the heads on there so that they could actually look straight up.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Zen.
No, I just said, yeah, that's a photography trick, in order to get these into these poses. And Spec, you shared some of the behind the scenes with me in the past, and I appreciate that you're even looking for some input, but you nail it almost every single time anyway. So
yeah. Sort of like this stuff like this is great to see.
Yeah, this was a fun one. I wanted to try and do something really dynamic. I wanted to use the Mezco turtles. I wanted to use the turtle van. There was another version. So the one thing I am not is a Photoshop pro. And so I was trying to play with using Photoshop to make a little bit more motion. And there was another version where the van had a little more blur to it that I think looked good. And when I had to redo it, I forgot to put it on there. But, you can see I was able to get like a little bit of debris that looks like it's coming off the guys as it's hitting, and doing the eye glow isn't that bad. But I was trying to get like sparks coming out of the foot soldier that's getting split in half. And I just I'm not good at that stuff, and it didn't turn out. So I ended up, I showed that to you guys, and I ended up scrapping that one and going with a more simple approach. Thank you, Michael Kimmel. Appreciate it. Tony, as always. Bobby, thank you guys. But yeah, it's fun. And when I have the time and the ability and to do it, I have too much of a perfectionist mentality, and and so I get these ideas and then I put them off because I don't have the dioramas to do it. Or, you know, you see those big guys like we've showed on the past, like Sergeant Bananas. And he's got a great Ninja Turtle one that he just posted. And he's, you know, he has this probe lens, which is something I'd love to rent at some point to do better interior shots and whatnot. And it's a city diorama, and he was able to get like a really strong source light that he was able to put in the shot because it's being hidden by a fire escape grate that's part of this you know. So it's just like,
yeah,
when you can get to that level, and it's like I'm slowly trying to get to that level, but it's also hard to like find time to sit down and want to try and paint and create a whole diorama. And then where do I put it? Because I've been working on this one for 2 years now, and I should say I worked on it 2 years ago, and it's just been sitting unfinished since, and it's just sitting here, which again, my wife just loves.
Talking to the guy whose last review was a year ago tomorrow. Like, that's how long my Blade review was, and I haven't put up anything since. It's hard to find time to do this stuff. I love the live streams. I love the Instagram posts. You got to make time, and you got to take time, right? So, but I just want to encourage you to keep up the good work on your toy optics. And I don't mean to cut this short. It's just that we still have. I still want to touch on Star Wars Cantina. I want to touch on the weird Halloween 2-pack. So you know, but really, before we move on to that, is there anything you want to say to people starting out? Oh, and yes, the Party Wagon Transformers. But is there anything you want to say to people starting out?
So, you know, a lot of common questions I see a lot of people get, not just myself, is what kind of camera do you use? What do you do for that? I'll tell you the answer that a very well-to-do retired first assistant cameraman from the motion picture world that I come from told me, who was also a very accomplished still photographer. The best camera there is the one you have on you at the moment, right? So sometimes it's this. Sometimes this is the best camera. If that's what you got, use it. Sometimes, you know, it's this. But don't let not having a high-end camera discourage you from taking photos. And if you're just getting into it, the GI Joe Classified photography page, who's run by a guy named Sean Carney, and he's a super nice guy, and we've chatted a little bit here and there, and he takes great photos, and he takes a lot of photos. And I was asking him questions because I was like, hey, you know, this is a great shot. Maybe if you increased your depth of field just a little bit more. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm just starting out. I don't even really understand like what you're saying right now, you know? And he's like, I'm trying to learn it all and figure it all out. It's like, okay, cool. Like, you've been taking the mass amount of photos that you've been taking and getting what you've been getting out of them. And you don't know all the little technical details like of how to do certain things. And that's fine, man. You'll get there. You just do it. Get comfortable with it. Play, experiment. You know, some of the it's a friend of mine just brought
this up. To have you hold that thought. Let's jump into Star Wars, and thank you for those kind words.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. This is a choice. What do you guys say to this Halloween Dracula Inquisitor and Bat Vampire Duros? It's an Amazon exclusive. It's out of stock, so people have been snatching it up, you know. So what do you guys think about this?
So they started doing this, I remember years ago. Remember they made the C-3PO and R2-D2 from the old Christmas card from back in the day? I think it's kind of neat when they do this. So, I mean, Star Wars has a huge fandom. And if you can give them something that they can put out at Halloween, go for it. And this is the same thing I said before. This is what an exclusive should be.
Yeah.
Put it up on Amazon. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's a fun exclusive. Not everybody needs it. Not everybody likes it.
I think it's fun. I'm going to skip it. It's the second year that they've done the Halloween stuff. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, but they did the Halloween clone trooper with black with the green skeleton, which
the Halloween Wookiee with the ears, the werewolf ears.
So, and I ended up getting both of them. I bought the clone trooper because the clone trooper's cool, and you can put that anywhere. You can use that as a regular figure. And then I wasn't gonna get the Wookiee, the Wookiee, but it was like $8 on Walmart at some point, and so I snagged
why
it.
not?
Yeah, and it's a fun figure. It's a big, beefy Wookiee, and it's fun. So yeah, these are fun. I'm gonna skip these unless they go on like ultra clearance, but
yeah. No, it's a cool exclusive. I mean, not for me, but it's cool.
And I guess
did we have more Star Wars?
Huh? So what?
I'm sorry. Did we have more Star Wars?
Yeah, I want to talk about The Last Command, and really it was just as an excuse to segue to the HasLab. But yeah, like if you are a fan of the books, that's the thing, because there's a lot of Star Wars fans, comic books, the video games, and even the novels. So if you're a fan of that trilogy, of that Timothy Zahn trilogy, you can get this. Right now it's sold out at Hasbro Pulse, but you can still get this at Disney Store. So there's something for everyone. You want the crazy Halloween figures, you can get that. You want the Blast from the Past books, figs from back in the day, you can get that. But let's just go ahead and talk about this. Let's go ahead and talk about this HasLab. Squeaked by to 14,000. The exact total was 14,737 backers. $500 for the Cantina. But in doing that, they were able to get all this stuff, all the cups, all the chairs, all the bits and pieces, tables and chairs, nightmares, decals, the Tonica sisters, and of course, you get Greedo, and you get this Nabrun Leeds. Hey, man, you got him. What say you to this HasLab?
Then you go first.
Personally, this is a true dream project, right? We've gotten a pop-up in the past. There was a place set way back in the day on the original run. I think David Hernandez posted something on his page, and I mean, this is a dream project. People had been wanting something like this for years, right? This is the ultimate display piece because a cantina, whether it's Mos Eisley or one of the other locations throughout the series, you can put so many different characters. And guess what? So many people were complaining, well, there's not enough. What is it? The vintage, the TVC collection this is for? Which one?
Yeah, TVC, the vintage collection. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody's saying they didn't produce enough. Screw that. You've got over 40 years worth of figures that you can put in here. So you can go all the way back to the Kenner days, Power of the Force, Power of the Jedi. You have figures that will fit in here and mix and match. And this is a dream project. This is what a HasLab should be.
Spec, what say you?
I agree. I mean, I think it's a really cool set. I don't get TVC. I like how they did a standard and a deluxe. You can get this sort of pared down so you get the gist of it, or you can pay a little extra and get like the full spread. And everything that that Zen said is right on the money. Like, it could be Mos Eisley, it could be Mos Espa, it could be some other cantina somewhere else. That, I mean, it's a little Tatooine specific to some degree, or other desert planet or arid planet. I think it, for me, it just comes down, like, I'm not surprised that it squeaked by, and I'm not surprised it didn't hit all the tiers, and that could be for several reasons. It's interesting for how universal it can be in some ways, to, I feel like it can be very limiting in other ways, right? It's just like my buddy who was watching Mandalorian and Obi-Wan and all that. He was saying, he's like, Tatooine again, you know, like that shithole of a desert planet somehow became very central to the entire Star Wars galaxy. And so it's another set that's representative of that planet. And it's a bar set. And what, you know, you can do a lot with the bar set, but you can only do so much with the bar set. And then it's a pretty beefy set. So, you know, unless you have a lot of display places, you're probably only displaying bits and pieces of it, which was very brilliant in the modular design. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm all over the map with this. Like, if they had done a brand new Death Star set or something else, would that have blown the doors off and nailed all the tiers and gone through everything? Or is this just sort of where we're at with vintage, and people know that the Wolfman, I forgot his name, but, like, you know, he'll get on a card eventually based on like what they've done with other HasLabs. And so I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place with it. It's a very cool set. Don't get me wrong.
Well, it's modular, right? So you could put it on different sections of your shelf on your DTOF. Now, I'll be honest with you. I didn't back it. I have a massive Star Wars collection. You guys know that. I don't really share that. I do have a massive Star Wars collection. I didn't back it. But if they had included B. Arthur from the holiday special, because we all know, anybody that saw that holiday special, she's the barkeep, and she does a whole like song that comes out of nowhere. If she was an included figure, boom, you got my money.
Well, and I wonder if they had done something like that, like gone for that deep cut, if that might not have like pushed, you know, some fans into saying like, okay, I gotta get it.
Well, they gave us
a lot of stuff.
The Tanaka sisters.
Yeah.
And people have been wanting that for years, but they would not. I think they had a licensing thing, right? They never signed off on their likeness until recently. I think that's what it was. I could be wrong with that. But we've already gotten that bartender
Wooher.
Yeah, we haven't gotten them. I think we got the werewolf at one point, didn't we?
At least in Power of the Force. I don't know if they redid them for Vintage Collection or not, but I know.
So I'm not kidding. If they went deep cut and they did B. Arthur from the holiday special, I bet you, I swear, you would have had more backers for this thing, because that would be such a crazy piece to have in your collection. That's what I think.
I agree.
It's a golden time. It's like you can, sooner or later, they're going to make pretty much anything you can think of if the community's behind it. And we're only talking about 14,000 backers for the Cantina. We're talking about 10,000 backers for the Skybound Compendium. It is a niche. It's a niche of niches, right? It's just enough people in the community that are banding together and saying, we want that His Tank, we want that Cobra Rattler, we want this, we want that, right? Not enough people for that Engine of Vengeance, right? So now we're getting the Ramen Racer instead. It just depends. So that's why community is important. And that's why basically saying, yeah, here's what I do with this, and making sure that Hasbro or McFarlane or whoever else can hear you. So it gets made. I mean, this is a golden age. What's next after this? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, I agree with you.
Man. All right. So now we can talk about, I guess, the main event, which is FOMOPhobia, right? So really quick, I got to give a shout out to our fake sponsor, Ross, for all the discount figures we've been able to get our hands on. Ross, Dress for Less, you've never let us down. Also, I got to give a shout out to Ollie's, the people who are Ollie's fans out there. Not Ollie's fans, Ollie's fans. But yeah, I would love to see an Ollie's where I was at. And of course, every place else, Burlington, Five Below, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, that 7-Eleven you walked into to get that, you know. So what say you about what it takes to pass up these figures, to pass up these sales, pass up these deals, when you know there's gaping wounds in your collection that you want to finish?
Well, I've been a huge purveyor of the Roscon since the end of last year. I used it to fill a ton of holes with Transformers. And the thing is, and I'm a huge Transformers collector, especially with one of my kids, but they are Transformers I wouldn't have gotten for the most part if they hadn't been on such a heavy discount, because they were all, they were the Walmart exclusives, the Speedia 500, some of the Beast Wars repaints, and some of them were super cool. But I have other versions. They weren't ones that I needed, but at $8, they're fantastic, and they were a great pickup. And my young nephew is like now obsessed with Transformers, and it's easy to sit there and see. He comes over and he's like, "Which ones can I see? Can I see this? Who's that? Can I play with that one? Can I try that?" And it's like, "Yeah, here, try this guy. See what you can do with him. See if you can transform him. See if you can." It was great for that. It was great for fodder when the classified showed up, all those stalkers and those dusties. Army building when the Python Patrol bats and officers showed up. Some fun stuff like, if I catch the Super 7, the GI Joe reactions there, I'll grab them if I don't have them. Some of the Black Series I got, a lot of the Black Series I skipped. The vintage collection, I don't get those. I skipped, but I did get Jabba's crew, Barada, Nikto, and oh god, I just forgot it. Klaatu, Barada, Nikto, and Yak Face. And then the Jada toys. Like I'd already had the Invisible Man because I wanted the body for fodder for a photo. But then the rest of the Universal monsters showed up. So Frankenstein's wife, Frankenstein, Wolfman, and then the Bela Lugosi Dracula just showed up last week. And now, I went in on a whim. I haven't been going in nearly as much because they really haven't been getting anything, and I really shouldn't be throwing my pennies at this stuff. But I found the Count Chocula before like people started announcing him. And I was like, I have the Chester Cheetah and it's a great figure. So of course I'm going to get Count Chocula for $10. And then I saw Frankenberry was hitting and I was able to find him. And now I'm trying to find one for Zen.
Yep.
And if Booberry shows up, well, Zen has a spare, so I'll end up with him one way or another. They're not figures I would have bought any other way except under heavy discount. I'll put it that way.
And they're amazing figures.
Yeah. I will say that the Chocula and the Frankenberry, like, they're fun and they're awesome. They are a little, I don't want to say cheap, but maybe QC.
You can say cheap. You can say cheap.
Yeah, I mean, but you're talking about like big, thick bodies, and he's very hollow. But like, his leg pops off very easily out of the ball socket, and it's him and the Count, like very thin limbs to like. So you got to be careful when you're articulating and doing whatever. And it's hard to see on him, but he's got this weird, super long peg when you're swapping the neck out. And so it's just like, I'm afraid that may break at some point.
Yeah.
That looks like Dusty's neck.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I think they would have done better if they were $10 at jump, just like Superpowers.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a $10 figure, it's a fantastic pickup. I mean, Chester Cheetah was great, and I paid full price for him, and he's a phenomenal figure. These feel like the first generation, and Chester feels like the second generation.
Sure.
But that said, like, I'm super happy I got it, and there's a lot of fun things you can do with it based on what you saw with my one photograph.
Yeah.
Ross opens the door to being able to get certain things that you may not otherwise get, but leading into the main topic of where we're headed with this, it's like you also have to be able to, like, even if it's $4, I don't need that.
And I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. But Zen, what has Roscon and Olithon meant to you, pretty much?
To be honest with you, not much. Because I'll buy the figures when they're available. That's what I usually do. So when I think it was the Viper 3-pack that showed up last year that most people thought it was a hoax. People thought somebody was just screwing around, and then we start to see these figures kind of like really start to fill the shelves. Well, maybe not fill the shelves, because I only saw the Viper 3-pack twice. But it made me go into Ross, right? And it made me go, you know what? Maybe I'll get another set of that Viper 3-pack, even though I already had it. But then after like 6 trips, I stopped going. I was like, I'm looking for a needle in a haystack. It wasn't bad. It was neat finding it, but I would find maybe one. And when you're looking for an army builder like the Viper 3-pack, and I was already not a huge fan of that Viper 3-pack, so at $15 it was great. But after 6 trips and not finding a second one, it became like, what was my time worth? So it's rare that I go into a Ross unless I'm running an errand. And I've lucked out a couple times, and I've gotten I got another set of the twins because I took my twins apart and made my own Crimson twins, Crimson Guard twins. So what Spec was saying, great for fodder. You could go there and get some great fodder.
Kit bashing,
yeah, for a lot of kit bashing. But after so many trips, I stopped going. So it's rare that I'll go in. It hasn't meant much to me, but I think it's fantastic that a ton of people got stuff. Somebody was able to find me a Fortnite boat, which was awesome. So you can't crap on people going there. Right? If they're fans and they want to fill their collection and they have an Ollie's, they have a Ross or something near them. And with the Transformers, I got one of the Transformers crossovers, the Maverick one, the Top Gun one. And that was a lot of fun to find.
That's one that I went looking for when I saw it was hitting, and I never found that one. I don't know about like the Rosses around you, but like here, once word gets out that stuff is like showing up, if you're not there when it gets on the shelf, odds are you're not getting it, because you get these guys that, Count Chocula, there's 4 of them. It was a $30 figure. It's $10. I'm gonna get them, and then I'm gonna throw them on eBay or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's, and then, you know, if you put in the time and you go hunt, you might get lucky and find one at one store, and so that becomes a thing. How much is your time worth?
Right. Because you're not getting that day back, and if you have an empty hunt, it's
right.
more irritating.
Right. It's your gas and your time. By the time you hit 6 or 7 Rosses, right, you already paid more than full price for the figure. So it's kind of like, well, I mean, kind of looking at it that way. And that's the thing, exactly what you said, Spec. In my area, as soon as collectors hear something's hitting, I'm working all day. So I don't have that freedom to go. And now and then I might find something. I think I found Python Patrol Vipers, or one of the Python Patrol characters for Jeremy Kimberlin, and I was able to send those to him. So, and that was just luck. I happened to be near a Ross, and I was like, let me just go see. And they had exactly what he was looking for. I grabbed them, but I can't keep going there. Like, I don't have enough time. I got 3 kids. I'm running around all the time. I have 4 girlfriends. I have a wife. I have 2 ex-wives. There's a lot on my plate.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm usually there's a Ross that's right by a Target I go to, which is in the same shopping center as the comic book store I go to. And then there was a Ross that was on the way that I go to pick up my kids from school. And then if I got there early, there was a Ross not too far from there. And then usually there's Rosses not too far from Targets if I was out hunting Targets anyway. But like that Viper 3-pack, I found it once. I only found it once. And I think stores were getting 6 total. And when I got to this store, the girl was putting 3 on the shelf. And I got all 3 because I got 1 for a buddy and 2 for me. And I never was able to find it again.
I want to touch on sales real quick, and then I want to talk about what FOMO means to you. I have had to make my peace with FOMO. No collection is complete. Some shit I'm just going to have to pass up. We were talking about the Hasbro Pulse outlet. It's still going, but you have to like search for it. The link's not up, so that's kind of shady. Right now, Pulse is on maintenance, so you may not be able to actually order from Pulse right now. But once it comes back Friday, you should be able to still get the stuff on sale. Like Spec, you were saying, the Hawkeyes at a good price. You can get a lot of really, really good stuff if you're willing to look and you're willing to search. I don't like paying full price unless I know I'm going to love that. I paid full price for this Crimson Strike team. It's half off, drives me nuts. There's Christmas stuff on sale, Disney Plus MCU stuff that nobody cares about. That Rebel Trooper, I still need to troop build that Rebel Trooper. I got to save some pennies. If you want to Kit Bash, that Tiger Force Dusty, that's the cheapest. It went clearance on Target and it wasn't that cheap, right? So forth and so on. And now we also have Prime Day. So Prime Day is going to be July 16th, July 17th. That's the gorilla in the room. And because of that, you're going to be seeing other sales like GameStop, buy one, get one 40% off. That new wave of Joe's still, I think that Night Creeper just sold out. Spec, you showed off that Ninja Turtles Transformer and so forth. If you have a pro account, you can save even more. And then you have Walmart, where they had some pretty cool stuff. A lot of Hasbro stuff, some McFarlane stuff, some Mattel stuff, and also everything Night Force. So once again, that Night Force Shockwave, $40, which is what it should have cost in the first place. Yeah. So, but even with all these deals, times are tough. Money's tight, bills, rent. Me and Spec were West Coast, and the cost of living out here is damn near astronomical. It's miraculous anyone can survive and live in Southern California. Like, if I'm being honest, I personally have no business being a toy collector with what everything costs out here. So I've made my peace with not getting any of this stuff, no matter how drastic those discounts are, how much those prices have slashed. I'm just going to miss out. I'm going to not get Kazar. I'm not going to get to be able to build Zabu. I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to get that. I damn near barely got the Joes, right? So what is FOMO for you, and how do you make your peace with FOMOphobia? And Zen, let me start with you real quick.
Yeah, so FOMO for me is, I think coming out of the pandemic, right? Coming out of COVID, it's we were kind of conditioned to think, oh, you got to order at this site, order at that site, order at this site, and you get into this habit of forgetting to cancel things, double ordering, and it's that fear of missing out that so many people like missed out on Regal Cobra Commander. So many people missed out on 00 Snake Eyes, on Zartan, just chasing different figures, the Cobra Island Target exclusives. And I'm going off of GI Joe because this is what this channel is, right? Mostly GI Joe, and we were conditioned in the last few years. Then you got the oversaturation that's at Ross. They definitely over ordered, and now they're telling us that they're starting to ring it back in. So I think Nerdzoic did a great video on this pendulum. If you guys haven't seen it, go to Nerdzoic's channel, and he really does a really nice job of kind of explaining how we went from not enough product to too much product, and now we're going back to not enough product, right? So there's FOMO is coming back, and it's coming back hard. And just like you said, the cost of living anywhere in the US, but you know, it's regionally, right? It's hard to keep this up and to be sustainable and really kind of keep your collection going. And you have to go into Ross sometimes and see a figure that you really wanted.
Hey,
right?
Shopping.
Right? But yeah, the sad truth, yeah. Well, I don't know if it's that one, but he goes into it. It's an amazing video. He really breaks it down well. And you know, you go into Ross and you see something for $10 and you go, you know what? Now my collection's either out of control or I have too much or I already have that. And now you have to pass that stuff up. You go into Target because they were doing these fast clearances, right? They get this product in, and then 3 weeks later, they're trying to clear the shelves because the product came in late and their point of sale system has already had it set up for discount. So people are always wondering, why they just got these in. Yeah, but those things were 45 days late, and on day 51, it goes on clearance. So a lot of people don't realize that that's how that system works. And maybe you already bought, like you said, the Crimson Strike team, and now it's at a really reasonable price. $48. But do you want to spend another $48 after already spending $90? Right? Because now you're spending $130 something. So it's the sustainability. Like, how long can this last? So now we're at a point where Hasbro's saying we're cutting production, but now you're picking and choosing. That's why that Cantina did not hit all the tiers, because people are now waiting for the hottest property that Hasbro has. They're waiting to hear what the HasLab's going to be for GI Joe. So you're picking and choosing now. So do you spread yourself thin because of FOMO? Because we've already done that. We've done that for the last few years because of the pandemic, but now life is catching up to everybody, you know, and there's so many different arguments, and it's kind of like, You want to make smart choices. I say that to my kids all the time. I go, make smart choices. And then I walk in and I've got 3 docks sitting on the table because I forgot to cancel one of the pre-orders because I wanted to see who would fill first, you know? And that's a habit that me and most people need to get out of is, you know, once you get that shipping notification, or, you know, just pick one vendor and choose, you know, stick with them, because then you know 100% what should be coming. But then you get people frustrated that Jinx just showed up at Walmart and they're dealing with Big Bad Toy Store, who's not shipping it until the end of August or September. Now, that's just a placeholder date. But there's all these things in the air, and we've been conditioned in the toy world to have FOMO. And I just went on a rant, so
It's the point. That was the point of this episode, because you were going on a rant. I'm about to go on a rant, but
do it.
Okay, yeah. Almost got evicted last year. Almost got fucking evicted from my fucking apartment over some goddamn toys. And I was like, I can't do this. So I had a sell-a-thon, and I was selling grails. I was selling things I swore I was never going to sell. Storm Collectibles, Street Fighter, gone. Mortal Kombat. And I didn't buy the Jada toys to make up for it. I was just strictly buying Joe's. War for Cybertron, Earthrise, Siege stuff, the Walmart exclusives. That stuff's gone, man. I had imports, Mezco's, Mofex, gone. SH Figure Arts, Bandai, Tamashi Nations, gone. Because I'm not getting kicked out of my apartment over a collection. So I had to ask myself, is this a collection or is this a compulsion? Because if I'm buying things just to be buying it, just to keep up with my friends because they bought it and I have to buy it too, just because that person on Instagram bought it and I bought it, then that's not a collection. That's an addiction. So I had a stretch where I got real toy negative. And I always mention this. I mentioned this on Black Genghis YouTube. I talked with 2 people, and that was Ryan Sweeney, the Dreadnought over at Island of Misfit Toy Collectors, and Mark Van Cannon of Gridiron Props. And I talk with these guys every so often. We'll have like long conversations. And I was like, I'm fucking done, man. I'm selling this his tank. I got the fire team. I'm going to package it both. I'm selling these both. He's like, no, you're not. It's like, dude, I just got an eviction notice. It's like, yeah, well, pay your rent. And then keep this his tank. I was like, I can't keep doing this. It's like, yeah, but you don't have to do it the way you've been doing it. Do something else. And that's really when I kicked Black Genghis into full gear. Because just being able to talk about it with the community, that was enough. I didn't have to buy everything from 5K Toys or Shozy Store or this place, that place. I didn't have to get every single Joe. I didn't have to get that vehicle, whatnot. I wouldn't have gotten the vamp if it wasn't for Travis. Travis was able to get an extra vamp for me, and I paid him retail. And at the time, the vamp pre-order was going sky high. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'll be damned if I let this hobby become an addiction that costs me dearly. So I sold thousands of dollars of toys, paid my rent, got a positive balance. Then I got promoted. And once I got promoted, now I was faced with a scenario where I can actually afford to be buying the rate I was buying at, but I had stopped by that point. So I wasn't getting Marvel Legends. I love Marvel. I wasn't getting Black Series. I love Star Wars, Transformers. Like, basically, I was getting those 3.0 MDLX Transformers. I know there's Cliff Jumper, Jazz is up, but getting that was cheaper than getting all of the Hasbro Transformers. It was cheaper. So that's why I went premium instead. And they're fantastic. But, like, yeah, that Mezco Casey Jones, yeah, I don't have Mezco Turtles. I was salivating over Mezco Turtles in this thing, that thing. I had gotten a gift from friend of the channel, Toyomic Displays, and I talked about it on my Instagram, and it meant a lot. because I wasn't able to go to Joe Fest with you, Zen, or Travis, or Bobby, or Tony and Ken Poe and Lawrence. Like, that would have been incredible. That would have been awesome. I didn't have money for a plane ticket. I didn't have money after paying rent, after paying bills. Like, I work from home. It's peak hours. From 1 to 5, I shut off my AC and I just burn because I can't pay for peak hours for using my AC. It's 100 fucking degrees out here in LA. I just burn, basically. Until it's 5 o'clock, and then I just, turn that AC back on. Like, that's how crazy it is right now. I'm not going to suffer over this hobby. I have the collection I want. I have my dream items. I've sold too many of my dream items. I sold the things I said I wasn't going to sell. So, yeah, like, fear of missing out. Yeah, fuck FOMO. I'm going to miss all this shit because I'm not going to let objects get in the way of experiences, meeting people in the flesh, having a moment and sharing that moment that you can hold on to, right? So we can treat life as ephemeral, but it's not, because those moments are what make us. And that togetherness is what builds that community. And that's why we can celebrate 14,000 people buying a Cantina, 10,000 people buying a big ass compendium of comic books, right? That's the thing. That's how I made my peace with FOMO. Because if it wasn't for FOMO, I would be a much happier person. So I just have to rock what I got and just be glad with the collection as is, that is now shrinking because it has to. That's a fucking rant.
I mean, Spec sitting there looks like he's
about to blow. He's Mount St. Helens.
Well, no, not
at
blow.
all.
He looks like he's getting ready for witness protection program sitting there. the way he's sitting there. But you described FOMO and these different choices that you have to make. Like right now, I'm starting to go through some of my collection, and it's the FOMO that you end up buying, or at least we were programmed to buy extras, or, hey, that's on clearance. Hey, there's this. Hey, I don't want to miss it at that price. The Facebook groups. And you could say that I was an enabler just last night by sharing Night Force Shockwave, right? It was shared with me. I shared it with the community, and all these people got in on it because they want to save $16. But I also put out a PSA on one of the Facebook pages that said, look, because of Walmart's history with this, with them overselling, don't cancel your original order because you might miss out on the figure altogether. So that's me. Also, I'm programmed where, am I being helpful to the community, or am I being detrimental? Like, to one person, I'm being helpful. To somebody else, they're going, oh, crap, I'm listening to this group and I got to get in an order, or I've got to order 2, I've got to order 3, when you really don't need to order it at all. And that's what I have my own things with FOMO as well. And mine is missing out on the experiences. KJ, I love the collection, but I love hanging out and playing in the background with my friends,
It's the wrong choice. I chose the toys over Joe Fest, and I kick myself every so often because of that.
Well, sometimes I wonder if, the choice for me to go to Joe Fest will affect me trying to get over the FOMO of Cobra Commander Once a Man. I'm actually okay if I don't get it. Do I want it? Yes. As a person that does reviews on his channel, yeah, absolutely I want it. But at the same time, I'm okay if I don't get it, because I've had this long history of understanding with exclusives that not everybody's going to get the exclusive. So if I don't get my hands on Once a Man, I'm actually okay with it. I do want it, and FOMO is kicking in, but It's okay if I don't get it. And now we're gonna go over to Toy Optics Spec and see what his thoughts are on FOMO.
Whew. I don't even know how to follow up with any of that. So I've collected off and on for a long time, right? Huge spoiled brat as a kid, GI Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, but Ninja Turtles, whatever. You get older, you sell all your stuff to buy a car, have freedom, do whatever. And based on the nature of being an army brat, I didn't have storage space, and there was no keeping that stuff forever, which, when I was younger was something I would have loved to have done. And it was like, it killed me to sell off all my original collection, especially for what I didn't make on it back in the 90s. But I was buying a car, I was buying my freedom, I was buying a whatever. And then Power of the Force came out in 95 and reignited my collecting. And I was hunting and getting everything I could. And then the exclusive started. I worked at a movie theater when that special edition Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, that was a movie theater exclusive, came out, and I couldn't get one. And you said, you're like, damn it, that was an exclusive, I wanted that one. But it's like, time heals all wounds. Like, you get over it. And I collected, and I kind of stopped again once I started college. And I remember the prequels came out, and Toys R Us had that big midnight opening, and I went to that, and I grabbed, I think it was the Stap, the Toys R Us exclusive box Stap with the battle droid. And I think I got a Mace Windu and something else. And then I ended up returning Mace Windu and whatever. I kept the Stap, but I returned because it was an exclusive, and I returned whatever few figures I got. Because I was a college student. I was fucking a broke ass college student, and I needed to watch my pennies. And so then that kind of killed my collecting again, and then came back out. I got out here, and I was collecting Gentle Giants, Star Wars statues for a while. And I started reading comic books again, and I was collecting comic books. And then the 25th anniversary line came out, and I was like, wow, all in. And then I went and like, whatever, the distribution on that and the line kind of started to go down, and then it went all exclusive, and it all happened around the same time that my wife was pregnant with my kids, and I was doing a TV series in Detroit, and it made it very easy to say, okay, I got to stop. No more Gentle Giants, no more Star Wars, no more whatever. And not only do I have to stop, I got to at least take these GI Joe figures, unfortunately, and sell them, or as many of them as I can, because I got to turn what was my man cave into a nursery, and life takes over, life gets in the way. And once my kids came, I had no time to read comics, so I quit comics. That was very easy, and I didn't collect. Once in a blue moon, I might buy like a little something. And then my kids got old enough, and Transformers Siege started, and it was very G1, so I was very into it. My kids were very into it, and it was something I did with them. But it was easy to wait for sales, right? Oh, I want Ultra Magnus, but I know Target's going to sit there and do 30% off, or I know that they're going to do the buy 50, get 10, whatever. I was able to wait, and I was able to get all those figures on sale prices. And then COVID hit, and we're all stuck at home with nothing to do. And GI Joe Classified was starting, and I was like, I wouldn't buy Black Series. There was no way I was paying $20 for an action figure, and I wasn't going to pay $40 for the deluxe Snake Eyes. And then they kind of started showing up, and then it was like, oh, Compton, Walmart out in Compton got Classified, and so drove my ass during COVID out to Compton, and I got Snake Eyes and Duke, and I left Scarlet. And then it was like, God damn it, these are cool. All right, I'm going to get the deluxe snake eyes. I'm going to, and then it was like, and everything became hard to get because of distribution. And all of a sudden you couldn't wait for the sales. So then your brain got conditioned. Okay, if I see the Transformer on the shelf now, I got to get it because he's going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's up for pre-order. If I don't pre-order it and it sells out, like that's it. There goes my chance at getting it. And so we all got conditioned into that. And slowly I was able to sort of break myself of that. So now with Transformers, if it's a Transformer I really, really want, I'll pre-order it. But thankfully, because of what they're doing with the Legacy series now, like an entire wave isn't necessarily something I want. And so I'll pre-order 2. The others are cool. They're not must-haves. They're not something that like I grew up with, or maybe they were, but they're ancillary. I can wait for the sales and I can pick those up cheaper. Marvel Legends. I started dipping my toe in Marvel Legends with that 60th anniversary, the Hawkeye and everything, when they went on sale immediately. And it was just like, whoa, holy crap, this is cheap. Like I can grab these. And then I very quickly broke myself of that because it was just like, I'm not getting into the, not going to jump into the space because of COVID and all the collecting and the blacks. I was buying Black Series because of Mandalorian, which then of course opened it up into the rest of the Star Wars universe. And you hit a breaking point. And if it's not a financial breaking point, it's a real estate breaking point. And, because of the nature of the film industry right now, like I kind of hit both. And stuff is in bins because I don't have the room to display it all. But because I do the photography, I don't want to like make it disappear. But I basically said like GI Joe is the one line. I'm all in on it. I'll pay full retail for it. It helps keep the line going. If I can get it on sale, I will. Or if I do buy it from Target or whatever, and it goes on sale a month, 2 months later, I can always, because I buy it with the red card, take it back, get the cheaper price. And I do that all the time. Or, Baldy, like sharing the Shockwave being on sale, or being able, or when Naugahyde was mismarked at Walmart and able to order that for 24. But like, I'll take those wins when I can get them. But I paid full price for the Crimson Strike Force. And okay, like great, it's 50% off on the outlet. I kind of had a feeling it would get there because it wasn't like a must-have for everybody. And I don't feel a big loss. Like it doesn't hurt me that I wasn't able to get it for that price. And then you see all the other stuff that came on the outlet, a lot of the Black Series stuff. Like there was no way I was paying $110 for their Black Series exclusive, the Star Killer with the 2 Stormtroopers. Like it's not worth it. And then it went on the outlet for $70, and I was still like, I'm not going to get it. And then they dropped it again, and it was like $40. And I was like, cool, it's going to sell out. I'm not going to get it. And it did. It sold out, and I don't feel like I missed anything. And there's the Force Ghost 3-pack that's on sale for like $55 on the outlet. And so it's like I'm able to be picky. I do get FOMO here and there, like, oh shit, there's Count Chocula for $10 at Ross. Like, how can I say no to that? Oh, Frankenberry's out. Yeah, I got to go find him. I don't feel as bad about $10 here, $10 there. So yeah, it's that. I know I'm ranting and trying to like, where am I going with this or whatever? But it's
you touched one good point that I just before we get too far. It's you said if you missed the strike team, like it doesn't at the half price, like it doesn't hurt you. It does hurt Hasbro. And what I mean by that is it hurts Hasbro that they're sitting on that much inventory to even have an outlet section, right? So this is where the FOMO comes in, because they have stated time and again through this year that they're cutting production. And that's what Nerdzoic goes over. And this is why FOMO is going to kick back in, especially with Once a Man Cobra Commander being at SDCC, right?
Right.
Because if they truly cut production, we're not going to see him make it to the outlet next year. So you can play that weight game, which more power to anybody that does that. But if you're, like you said, all in on the GI Joe classified line or whatever line you collect, doesn't matter if it's GI Joe or not. But if it's not GI Joe, you're not collecting, right? But anyway, if you're playing the waiting game and they're true to their word and they truly are cutting some production, you're not going to get it at that discount. Hasbro sees the same thing that we see. Hasbro sees Roscon. They see Ollie's. They know that they messed up and that they over-ordered and oversaturated the market. So they need to make a profit. They're not making a profit on that stuff. Okay, yes, they already sold it to Target, but now Target's not going to buy as much stuff from them because Target had a loss. So,
Right.
Is FOMO going to get worse coming up? And because of the economic turndown, you know, everything that KJ just explained, his situation, is FOMO going to get worse? I don't know. I mean, and McFarlane plays heavy into FOMO with his platinums, you know. But I'm sorry I cut you off, but I didn't want to miss that opportunity.
He cuts us off all the time.
So I do.
Well, it might get worse. FOMO might get worse, and that's the thing is, how do we help each other? How do we help ourselves not to have, like, I have extras here that I shouldn't have, you know what I mean? And that's going into the cost of what I might want to put out for whatever HasLab comes my way.
Yeah. Well, that's the big reason I didn't buy the compendium, which I really, really wanted, is I knew that there was a HasLab coming, right? And not only is there a HasLab coming, I got my annual registration on my car is due. I had my eye exam today, and I need to reorder contacts, which aren't expensive for a year's supply. What else? You know, my union dues, because I serve on the board or whatever, I only have to pay 1/4 out of 4 quarters, but it's up and it's not cheap. And so it's like, you know, it's being an adult and being responsible to some degree. I'm not saying I'm totally responsible. But like, I've picked GI Joe is the line that I'm all in on, right? That's the one I'm all in on. I'm okay not getting as much or everything from other lines. And then, you know, like, and we'd said this before, like, I was actually winding down out of Black Series, and I'm still getting less and less. Like, when that Shockwave went up for pre-order on sale, the Night Owl Mandalorian also was on sale for like $18. And I like hovered over it for a second. I was like, do I really need another repaint? I was like, no, I don't. Even if it's on sale, I don't need it. Maybe if it becomes $6 one day or whatever, great. But, you know, I was essentially saying I was done with Black Series, but the whole over ordering and under ordering and this whole thing causing Hasbro to say, okay, we're going to do a lot of retools and reissues. You know, now they're putting out a lot of Black Series figures I didn't get initially. So it's like, shit, okay, they're re-releasing Commander Fox and Commander Gree. All right, I'll pre-order those. You know, okay, I'm going to get the 3-pack with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and Darth Maul. But good night, 3-star. It's become very easy to say no to a lot of things. Or
all those figures you listed, I had to say no to, but continue.
Yeah. And there's some I looked at and be like, oh, it'd be cool to have those. I'm going to put them in my list on Amazon. And if they happen to go on sale, I'll grab them. And if they don't go on sale, I'm not going to grab it. Like, you know, and that's that. And as I said with Transformers, if it's a Transformer I really want, which is G1, I'll put in the pre-order for it. And if it's from one of the other lines or whatever, I can either skip it, or if I think it's really cool, I'll put it in my Amazon thing, or I'll wait for Target to have a sale. And if I can get it, cool. And if I can't get it, I didn't lose anything. And it's just a matter of rewiring your brain, right? We're all going to get anxious when things get announced, and we're going to want things that we're going to want and shiny. And Robo talks about it on his weekly rewind too, like, ooh, shiny plastic. And, you know, he makes a really good point that I wanted to make. And I'm sorry if I'm boring everybody into leaving tonight. But, you know, he's like, I don't need the plastic. I'm good looking at the pretty promo pictures, right? What did we do as kids? We looked at those Sears and JCPenney holiday catalogs that were that.
I had the Transformers pamphlet. That was my Transformers collection. Just folded out the pamphlet and be like, and then put it back. That was it.
And it, you know, that's that thing, like 5K Toys or whatever. It's like, cool, I can go look at the site and enjoy some of the photos that I'm seeing, or following a lot of the other toy photographers and stuff on Instagram and see them enjoying those versions of those figures. And like, that's it, man. Like, I don't need more than that. You know, I'm good there. And again, I'm not in any way sitting here saying I'm Mr. Super Responsible, because I'm not. None of us are. But you do hit a point where it's like something has to give, and you do have to retrain your brain, and you do have to, like, okay, I don't need that. I'm not going to get that. Or,
right.
You know, do I really need to continue in this line? Or, you know, I have tons upon tons upon tons of those Gentle Giant statues, and I love them all. They've been sitting in a box for 13 years now because I have nowhere to put them. And it's time to start letting some of them go if I can get the right price for them, because they're taking up space. And, you know, because of real estate prices and everything in Los Angeles, who knows if or when I'll ever be able to have a place to display them again, right? So
yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, if is your collection just a whole bunch of totes that you bought at Home Depot? You know what I mean? Like, you should collect, and there's no wrong way to collect. If you collect on card or you open stuff up, I shot a message to Spec about an idea I have for a review, right? And there's no wrong way to collect. So if you collect in box, if you open and play with them, you know, that's how you collect, but you have to draw the line somewhere, right? Eventually you have to say, you know what? I think I'm done with this. I'm all in on this. So, you know, make some decisions here. That's where I'm at with McFarlane. I'm just I've always been a Batman fan. They started releasing figures that I wanted, some characters, deep cuts. Then they started doing some cool platinums. And I'm at the point now where I'm like, it's like going to that party and you run into an old high school friend and they're like, hey, remember when we used to do keg stands? Or, hey, I have some nitrous tanks and some balloons. You know what I mean? And you go, you know what? I probably shouldn't do that. But then McFarlane's like, come on, man, it's a free balloon. You know what I mean? It's just like you have these weird things that come up and you just go, man, yes, I want to do a keg stand. But you know what? If I get pushed or I lose my balance, I'm old enough to break my hip.
Yep. Yeah, it was.
You know what I mean? So it's finding these things, and you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You know, I'm
on a stupid rant. I'm being silly now.
No, well, it's that time of night. I had picked up when Target was having a sale and it was applying to NECA stuff. And I picked up the 3 Flash Gordon movie figures because I love the Flash Gordon movie. But they were sitting in my trunk, and then I was thinking about it, and I was just like, man, do I really have the space? Yes, I love the movie. Do I really need the figures? I didn't have figures of this as a kid. Do I? And I returned them, and I've had no regrets about it. I don't I'm not missing having them. And it's just that, and sometimes maybe you just have to do that, right? And you can do it from Target, the easiest, and Amazon. A little bit Walmart, a little bit more of a pain in the ass in Los Angeles. Harder to do with Entertainment Earth or Big Bad and Pulse. But like, okay, it's on sale, or okay, I think I want this. Buy it. Don't open it. Sit on it for a couple days. Do I have the urge to open it? Do I really want this? What's going to happen when I do open it? Am I going to like fiddle with it and then put it on the shelf and kind of be like, okay, that was cool, And if that's the answer, then you return it. And you're not, if you truly feel like you lost something out of returning it, then hopefully you'll have the opportunity to get it again at some point. But like, you kind of put yourself through that test, and it was just sort of like, cool, I got it. I don't need it. Here, take it back. I'll take my money.
That's the Pee-wee's Playhouse word of the day, a test, right? It's like, how much is my fandom worth? And have I already expressed that? Or do I need to have this piece in order to please the fan that's inside me? Right. Yeah. So that brings us to our grand question of the evening. Is collecting sustainable post-COVID? A lot of us came back. Stimmies, right? Stimulus package, nothing to do, no movies, no bowling, none of that stuff. Just started collecting everything from action figures to die-cast. So now that we're past the COVID collector, now that we're past lockdown, you can go outside, watch a movie, go to a concert, go get some Strange, man, whatever. Like, is this sustainable past COVID? And Zen, I'll go to you.
Well, I think that we've touched on so many different things tonight that no, it's really not sustainable, right? You have to start making these choices and, make good choices. So if you're all in on GI Joe, if you're all in on Legends, if you're all in on Mezco, that's what you want to collect. Get that, and then try and be responsible with the other lines. And then, like Spec just said, if you order it and you get it, maybe sit on it for a day or two and just be like, do I really need or want this for my collection? I ordered the Ramen Racer. I haven't gotten it yet. And now he's got the Razor coming out, which I would rather have. I would rather have that over the Racer. The Racer's badass.
The Racer to get the Razor? Would you flip it to get the other one?
I would consider it. I mean, the Racer is sexier. You could use it with more lines.
Dreadnoks.
But Dreadnoks. I mean, Dreadnoks are my thing. And if I'm all in on GI Joe, I feel like who in GI Joe is driving the Racer? Nobody, right? But the Dreadnoks, they're going to love that Razor, and that would look great in my display for the Dreadnoks. But yeah, it's just like McFarlane. I think I have to cut ties with McFarlane. I got to get rid of his pager number. You know what I mean? Stop hitting him up late night Saturday and go, yo, you got any platinums, dude? Yeah, exactly. And we have to start looking at this stuff and say, do I really need this? Do I really want that? And I don't think it's sustainable. And then I do fear like the FOMO is going to kick back up a notch if Hasbro and some of these other companies stay true to their word and really keep production down. It might make it more fun. It might make it more fun because I don't mind trading. I like trading and I like doing that aspect and helping somebody get a piece for their collection. That makes me feel great. Like that makes me feel really good when I'm like, oh man, I just hooked this guy up and you know what? He's got something that I want. So that's always a good feeling too. That makes it fun for me. But yeah, I don't think it's sustainable, and I think FOMO is going to really hit hard, especially towards the end of the year. But we'll have to see. Yeah, and it is plastic crack for sure. And I'm done on my end.
Relax.
Sustainable to a degree. I think Stanley made a good comment. It's a sliding scale, right? If you do have a line that like you just love and that is your line, like GI Joe, and that's all you focus on, I think that's sustainable. And I think it's more sustainable if they continue, we went through the heavy push of a year's worth of product in 6 months, and that just beat us all up. And now, somebody pointed out that we're halfway through the year and we're just now starting to see the release of the first wave of the year. And what, Marvel Legends is on their third, something like that. And that's great for the Marvel Legends guys. And I know that there are Joe collectors that are raising a fuss saying like it's June or July. Why haven't we gotten any? I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah.
I'm cool with the patient game. You know what? If people are getting Jinx from Big Bad Toy Store or GameStop and mine doesn't ship from Pulse or Amazon or wherever till a month later, I'm cool with it. I'm still getting it. I know I'm gonna get it. I don't gain anything being the first person to have it. Do I want it? Yeah, I want it. But I can play the patience game. And Hasbro and these corporations, they're in it to make money, obviously. But it's that whole thing of they're their own worst enemy, and they never do what they should do because what the bean counters tell them they should be doing when they should be doing it. But it's kind of on them to help make it sustainable. So, they've released what? They've released one wave, or that first wave is starting to release. And we've had 1 or 2 rounds of pre-orders, and we're going to have a HasLab. And to me, especially if that's your only line, that's pretty sustainable. But yeah, you got to do what's right for you. You got to fill your collection the way you want to collect, but you got to be responsible about it. So that's my rant.
I think it's a big question. I'm definitely going to sit on it. I want it to be sustainable. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it's going to be the 15,000, 10,000, 5,000 people across the country collecting. Only time will tell. But I will say that I'm glad to be a part of this community. I'm glad to have met fine gentlemen such as yourselves and fine ladies and gents who are just dyed-in-the-wool geeks and love what they do. And if you, our fellow viewers, want to check out more from these folks, you can check out the following at Baldylocks Reviews. The man is a legend. Him joining us is what really turned the Toy Kind of Mood into a super group. I feel like this is definitely, we're on our highwaymen, we're on our audio slave. Like, this is like nothing to prove, and we're still doing it anyway. So definitely check out this dude's videos. Check out his shorts. Fantastic job with Top Dog Comics in Augusta. I ended up collecting Citadel paint because of that video. So fantastic stuff. Also, you can find the dude on Instagram, Baldylocks Reviews. The dude's a meme master himself, but he will let you know about that stuff. It's not enabling if you already wanted it. So I'll say that much. The man travels the world, and man, I wish nothing more than to have been in Augusta hanging out with you all. Shout out to Hatua. She really knows how to treat that thing. And yeah, really fun stuff. And keeping the fun going, once again, Stop being snobby, stop being bougie, and holler at the dude Toy Optics on Instagram. All right? The man is a legend in the making. So get in on the ground floor and check my dude out. Check out the flex. Like, check out the goods. Like, you won't be disappointed. $4 for that reaction, bro?
Ross.
Dude, did you get me one? Damn. Anyway. No, I'm kidding. I kid.
You know, Spec, this is where your humor really comes out in these pictures. I think you're very subtle and you're very dry, and a lot of people don't pick that up. But some of your pictures, man, is very inventive and it's very funny humor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's really great stuff. And you really know how to put these things through their posing. So kudos on that, man. Like, honestly, it's not the subscriber count that marks the quality. I've always believed that. But yeah, if I can send more people your way, I will. Even though you interrupt me at every single fucking chance you get. No, I'm kidding.
I just get excited. I just get so excited.
Also, my Terradrome brother from another mother, Tony's Figs. Check my dude out on Instagram. The man just completed his Dreadnoughts collection. There's more on the way. Shout out to Monkey Wrench. Shout out to Zanzibar and everyone else. I always love talking shop with this dude, and we got plans for Terradrome. We are going to evolve Terradrome to something that you have not seen before. And also, congrats to Tony's Figs on crossing 800 subscribers. Let's make it 1,000. Let's make that 1,000 on Tony's Figs on YouTube. Everyone should be checking this stuff out, man. It's fantastic. OG-13, the Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol Figs, this Delta 17 review. Like, no one else is doing this stuff, man. Like, the man is making alchemy. He's an alchemist. All right? So check that out. And also, you know, share some love my way, man. Go ahead and holler at your boy Black Genghis, man. I put in work. You know, I try. You know, I try to please y'all. I am pleased as punch with this. Going over to my YouTube, I can't believe these guys gave me the time of day. And I really appreciate them and their time. I am very proud of this interview. This started streaming on the 4th of July. If you haven't seen it, and if you're a fan of GI Joe Classified series or just action figures and the art of sculpting and engineering in general, I highly recommend this. Check out this interview. It's a Black Genghis presentation, Corey Cantalupe and Fred Axon, a highly classified conversation. Is definitely worth your while. And of course, I got to show some love to the mothership, the flagship, the Toy Kind of Mood. Travis be putting in work on these reviews. I don't give a damn if they're first or last or whatever. I always have a good time watching his stuff, and I think you will too. So check out some of these reviews. You can also check out some of our other live streams. This is episode 179. We are barreling towards episode 200. We're going to see how that goes. And once again, shout out to my dude, Bobby Behar, holding it down on TikTok. Whenever I'm on TikTok, it's almost always for the wrong reasons. Do not look up any of these people here. Don't look them up. They're fine. Just don't look up those people. But anyway, shout out to Toy Kind of Mood Reviews on TikTok at A Toy Kind of Mood. Fantastic unboxings and in-depth reviews as well. Whatever Travis doesn't reach, Bobby also grabs on TikTok. So be sure to check all that stuff out. All right, folks. Looks like we're going to pull this in after under 3 hours. So, all right. Yay us.
That's pretty impressive for this East Coaster here.
Yes. Thank you for spending your midnights with us. And that's all I have to say. Anything else from you guys?
No, I just want to say, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the chat tonight. I know we couldn't highlight everybody. There was a Merman. You were seen. Merman, yes. You were seen.
You were very seen.
And you are Merman.
That was pretty funny. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that stuck it out with us tonight. I know this wasn't a normal production tonight, but we touched on, I think, a very important topic, and it's going to come up, I think, more than once this year. So we'll see how that goes. And I do want to give a big shout out to Travis. Travis does a lot of work behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know that. He's really trying to pump it out with the reviews, and he's fun. He's actually pretty fun. You can tell that he enjoys what he's doing, and he brought us all together. So he's doing something right.
Yep.
And if you're not first, you're moody.
I don't know if you saw it in the chat or if he's still here, but Figure Fight Club. If you do want to try and put something together, hit up Travis Moody, because he is the one that maestros all of this.
Yes. Yeah, Travis has the calendar, and he's the main contact. And if you can't get a hold of Travis, get a hold of one of us, and we'll get you guys in touch.
Yeah, you totally lied about being under 3 hours, but that's okay.
Well, just over. If we call it now, we can fudge it.
All right. Everybody have a great week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. Sleep well. Play with your figs. Rock what you got. Representing Toy Kind of Mood, I'm KJ, a.k.a. Black Genghis, Zen Pimentel, Baldy Locks Reviews, David Speck, Toy Optics, a.k.a. the Surlac. This has been episode 179, FOMOPhobia, Toy Kind of Mood. We out of here. Deuces, deuces.
What do I do with my hands?
I'm not sure. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That got heavy.